And here, with his bird's eye view and a brain to match, is Mr. Know-It-All.
Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on where and when you're watching this broadcast. I'm Thomas Fessa, my friends, and this is Disclosure Tonight. Happy Thursday, August 20th. It's the day after Elizondo. Yeah, it was a great interview last night. If you guys haven't catch it, you got to catch up. What a great show, my friends. A lot of stuff to talk about tonight. Yeah, that scientific council we talked about last night with Lou. Yeah, they can't get the data they want. That's going to be covered today in this great video coming to us from the Soul Foundation. On that note, let me go ahead and welcome in the audience. Let's see who the heck we have out there. Well, at the top of the you look at that at the top of the poll. At the top of the poll, we've got the Greasy Weasel again. He's made his way to the top. We've got April out there along with Aussie Banana Booey. I see you in the chat along with Backdoor Racing. I need to make it larger so I can see better. How about that? We've got Chief on Beef. Crisp Park and Ride, my friend, is there. Digger Dog, good to see you. And Daily Sage and Donna just popped up, literally. Doc is out there along with Eliza Teal. We got Elvis Road 10 and Firefly. Found this fascinating is in the chat along with Francis Tremblay. We've got Geraldine Durazio and Hudson Valley and It's Stellar Yo and J Cat Meow, along with Joey Stoner and Jonathan and Junior Brand and Kelly Brote and those piercing blue eyes. Looking at you, Kelly, as usual. Who else we have out there? We've got King of Israel. Good to see you, my friend, along with Kiwi DJ. Lion Not Lion, Lori G, Magna. Matt's out there along with Megan Betts. We got Mr. Joey B, NYC Elevator Guy, and Perfectly Imperf. Sins of Life is in the chat along with Rainstorm Hunter. We got Rough and Ready. Sandy Thing. Good to see you, Scooby Dooby Gooby. Scott's out there along with Spantastic. We got Steve Mateo, Supercharged Land Cruiser, along with the Super Unknown Sweaty Nerd, the Real Two Cruisins out there, along with the Truth Master. Oh God, I'm not going to make it, am I? Timbo C and Two Head 666, Wasteland Wonder, and of course, Yellow Tommy Tanker, also known as Andy, but he's not here, so we made it. Whew. Well, let's go ahead and pop into the studio. So, did you guys enjoy the conversation with Lou last night? He was relaxed, talking about everything, end of a long day. Always great to have Lou to come on here. Yeah, we'll bring him back again soon, maybe the next month or two, and see what's happening as we head further into disclosure. Because you know what day tomorrow is. It's Friday. Now, not that we're going to get a UFO drop. There always is a slight possibility that might happen, so we'll have to wait and see where that goes. Well, let me jump into the studio. Yep, we've got the great title card I put together as usual, but let's say those three magic words. Mike, how the hell are you?
Oh, I'm doing well tonight, Thomas. And yeah, this is the show after Lou. So we're going to have a lot to talk about with the Soul Foundation. Yeah, and see where that goes. It should be another fun conversation, my friend.
Because I know Avi's probably going to be asking, they want to get more data, but as Lou kind of made it clear last night, it sounds like the directive coming from Pursue or somewhere in there is any of the metadata that's been redacted is a matter of national security. It's classified.
Right, national security, correct.
Yeah, twice in a row, Daryl.
Oh, yeah.
Drink up,
one long island iced tea ahead of you, by the way.
Clinky, Clinky, take your drink.
Clinky, take that drink.
There you go. Couldn't find a better way to start off the show.
It's a good way.
Oh, yeah.
But as Lou pointed out, the people on the council, some of them are not American citizens. They wouldn't qualify for classified information. So
yeah, I brought up that point that why do we have so many scientists, especially from Israel? I know Avi's from Israel, but that would, throw Avi out along with any of the other people they've brought in from the area, Europe or elsewhere outside the U.S. And I had always said, shouldn't we have more scientists from the U.S.?
Well, what did Bob Bigelow say about people from Israel?
Oh, yeah, they had infiltrated his organization. I think there were 5 of them, and they had tapped, 7 other phone lines, and the FBI was involved.
Right, because they were spying, actively spying. So I think it's going to be difficult for Avi to have the government release classified information to those Israeli individuals.
Speaking of Israel, this is a quick news story before we get into this. Oh, where's it at? All right, here we go. Coming to us from over on X, where we do a lot of our stuff here these days, folks. Let me pull this up. I don't like saying that. Wait. Oh, we're fine. Uri Geller.
Oh, God.
Who's in Israel?
Yeah.
Who's an Israeli citizen, I believe.
Yeah.
People are now bored and fed up with disclosure. So please, please stop serving us blurry foreplay footage and just show us the recovered bodies. Hold on a second. Doesn't he have claimed countless times, too many to count, that he has pictures that he took of those bodies?
Yes, but he never released them.
So release it. Release the images. If you've got it, you didn't sign an NDA, didn't have to do anything. All you got was the wink from Werner von Braun of don't share these things. There's nothing that's outside of, if you want to call it, national security that would prevent him from not sharing these photos. So I get where he's coming from, but it's not just, okay, so he could bring out the beef in that matter. But I also said, here's an idea, Uri, considering we know they were spying on OSAP and different things. Here's an idea, Uri. Have you considered pushing the government of Israel to release the information they have about UAP and NHI? That could quickly solve everyone's boredom, I think.
Yeah, exactly. But he hasn't done that, has he?
No.
Nope. Right.
Nope.
So
nope.
I think the answer to that is self-evident. So, Uri, like they say, the old saying goes, physician, heal thyself. You need to look a lot closer to home.
Yeah. Go find the files, bring it out, take a, scan it in or take a picture with your frickin' iPhone or whatever you use and share it with everybody.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, Thomas, however questionable, I'm sorry to jump in, but because you're going to get to the next story. However questionable
That's
he
okay.
is.
You always interrupt and apologize after you've interrupted. Go ahead.
That's okay, Nick. We understand. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant Ryan. Oh, my mistake.
However
Hey,
questionable
Thomas.
questionable. I just wanted to get to it before you get to the next story. That's all. But however questionable he is, in that video, he does show a picture of, and if you look in the background, that is supposed to be the slide of a picture of an alien.
Bring it up front and show it to everybody. He showed pictures before that were representations
it's in that video.
of it, but
He
it
showed
wasn't
it.
the actual photo. It was something from a movie.
Right. He was debunked countless times.
Oh, okay. Well, he showed something in the background that he says is the photo that he has. So
Well,
I don't know. It's probably
just
it's very
don't put it in the
questionable.
background as something small and blurry. Bring it out for everybody to see. That's what I would say. If this is about disclosure and everybody wants to bring their stuff out, I think if he's criticizing our government, well, do something to help us, and if not, go petition your government. See what they can do to make disclosure happen. Because you know what? I'm getting tired of a lot of these podcasters that are the outside of the United States. And yes, everyone has a right to go ahead and criticize the United States and all that kind of stuff. Oh,
Yeah, I agree with you. I'll get off here, but that video that he shows, he shows the picture of the alien in a large format that he claims that he has. That's all.
well, that's good.
However questionable that it is. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, let's get across to the inside the council coming to us from the Soul Forum,
Dr.
which we are a media partner of, and I thank them graciously for allowing us to go ahead and share and promote their stuff. They do really good stuff, and not everybody gets over to the Soul Foundation to go ahead and see it or gets our analysis. So let's jump to this if we can. Let's get the video full, Thomas. Bring it around, make sure everything's all centered and ready to go almost. There we go. Let's play it. Here we go, folks.
Peter Skafish, cultural anthropologist and co-founder of the Soul Foundation. Dr. Garry Nolan is the Ratchford and Carlota A. Harris Professor of Pathology at Stanford University and Executive Director of the Board of the Soul Foundation. Dr. Avi Loeb is the Baird Professor of Science at Harvard University, Director of the Galileo Project, and Chair of the UAP Science Advisory Council. Dr. Anita Goel is a world-renowned nanobiophysics scientist and entrepreneur and the Chairman and CEO of NanoBioSim. The Soul
What they forgot to mention is Dr. Garry Nolan is also part of the UAP Scientific Advisory Council, and I think Dr. Anita is as well. So it should give us a good mix of things that are going on.
CEO of Now 2027 Symposium will take place in the spring of next comes available.
Okay, welcome everyone. We're here to have a discussion with some members of the UAP Science Advisory Council. And there have been a lot of questions, both in media and the public, about what the council does, what it's for, what its role is in disclosure, what we intend to do over the next year. And we thought it would be good to put together a discussion about all those questions with its chair and the person who convened it, Avi Loeb, with my co-founder at Soul, Garry Nolan. And I think the two of them really represent primary scientific leadership on the council. And with Anita Goel, who is new to the UAP subject, but is a remarkable scientist in her field at the border of the life sciences and physics. So welcome, everyone.
Thanks for having us.
So, Avi, could you give us a recap about how the council came to be, what it is, and what its purpose is?
Yeah, so about a month and a half ago, I received an email from the director of the All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office in the Pentagon, who introduced me to a representative from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, who wanted to meet me in person at my home. And I did not know what it's all about, but he asked me whether I'm willing to lead and establish a council that would advise the U.S. government on the science that can shed more light on the nature of unidentified anomalous phenomena. And of course, they had me at hello, because I was already leading at that point the Galileo project for several years. We are trying to collect new data and address this question scientifically. And what's interesting here is that we are talking about the intelligence community, the Pentagon, the White House, the FBI, asking a group of scientists to advise them. And that's a new development, because if you look back at history, and in fact, Hal Puthoff told me personally that the government in the past used to resist any sharing of data, any connection to scientists outside government. And here we have a situation that is far better than also the script of Steven Spielberg, where you see the main characters there being chased by the government with their car smashed against a moving train. My car is intact, and I had a visit asking me to establish this committee. So, of course,
well, those weren't necessarily scientists; those were experiencers. David, you have your hand up.
Yeah, this is just like rinse, wash, and repeat with Mr. Loeb here. I'm not learning anything new from him. And I feel like he said the same thing last
I know, but that's what they said. It's for new people coming in. They wanted him to reintroduce what was up at the council. So you're right on target, because he's just refreshing everybody who doesn't know what's going on to what the goal is and how we all got here.
Did they put out like a schedule of when they're going to drop some actual information, or are we just going to keep doing this News Nation stuff all over again?
News station stuff all over again. We're not sure. There's no announced schedule. There's nothing from the leadership to let us know what to expect, etc. It's a little bit taxing, but hey, at least we can kind of get a good idea of what's going on or what's not going on.
I'm not going to hate on the guy. It's validating to have the councils, right? There's two councils, like me and Daryl were discussing earlier. But this council, I just don't see what the point is right now.
Well, let's see if they can convince us during this interview, or
hopefully
during this meeting, kind of roundtable.
They had a couple months, so hopefully.
Yeah, we'll see.
But
as we know, Lou Elizondo told us last night, the information they're requesting, wanting to go ahead and get the classified information, ain't going to happen unless they can get national security clearance. Well, when that will take Avi Loeb out of it and leave someone like Garry Nolan and Dr. Kevin Knuth, who I absolutely support for being a part of this. And I hope they can go ahead and bring one of their imaging experts, Matthew Sedegas, on here, because he needs to be here, as well as, and there's others out there like David Mason, phenomenal imaging experts.
It's my hope that the governing council is that what you're asking for right now. I don't know much about the governing council. I'm talking about
the Science Council.
I don't think they're going to change their roster anytime soon.
Well, if they have to, they have to. It's not like, okay, we said it and it's not going to change.
Yeah, if they get classified information, they're going to have to. You're right about that.
God, yeah. They'll have to rework things, and that's okay. You know, it was a challenge that they didn't take into consideration because they didn't know it out front. If this is what they're going to be dealt with, they may have to say, sorry, guys, sorry, Charlie, we can't use you because there's limitations. You have to be a United States citizen, and you have to be able to handle a national security check. So
it's validating to have them. I hope they can produce something.
yeah, same here. Here we go.
The challenge was to bring together the best minds, and I'm glad to say that we have an amazing group of brilliant scientists that cover many different aspects of the phenomenon, and that includes people with expertise in physics, astrophysics, psychology, biology, statistics, data analysis. And so we have just amazing discussions when we meet. We meet every week on Zoom, and we will meet in person very soon. And it's just an intellectual treat for me to hear the comments made by everyone. Now, the council is real. It's working. So far, there were 5 releases from the U.S. government, tranches of data starting on May 8th. The latest one was just recently, August 12th. And we are, of course, discussing the data that was released. But more importantly, we submitted a request for more than 50 items of information about the past incidents, and we hope to get some of those shared with us. That is data that goes beyond what was released. We are also doing something even more important.
So this is the specific data that Lou mentioned last night that is not going to become available to the Scientific Council. It's a matter of national security. And if they can't get their clearance, they're not going to be able to clinky, take your drinky. It's going to be off limits for them.
And that is recommending sensors that the U.S. government can use in order to collect new data, because the beauty of science is that we don't need to rely on past reports. We can get more information, so the future can be better than the past. And obviously, we can't have a time machine going back in time, improving the quality of the data that was handed to us. But what we can do is, for example, get multiple cameras looking at the same object so that we will be able to figure out its distance, velocity, acceleration. We could use a spectrometer that will tell us the light emitted or reflected by the object, the intensity as a function of wavelength, and that would tell us something about its composition. And of course, if we had access to materials, then we can do much more. And so we are currently engaged with the government in planning a future experiment where we would go to the field together with the government and place some instrumentation there and collect new data. And that's frankly the best way to make progress, because in principle, that's the way that a kid figures out the world. When a kid sees an object, the kid goes to the object and starts playing with it to figure it out. And what adults very often do, they sit back and say, I don't have the energy to go to the object. I will save some energy, and I'll basically imagine what the object is and say that I know what it is. And by the way, this is the approach that was taken by both skeptics and believers in the past. They know the answer. They don't need more evidence. However, the council is focused on science, the scientific approach, which is guided by data, by evidence, so that we can bring everyone to the same page. And if we get good evidence about what UAP are, and I should say there are many orbs that are observed and their nature is not clear, we can, at the very least, help the Pentagon, the intelligence agencies, fulfill their mission, because these may be Chinese drones over strategic assets. So we will contribute to national security if we find out that they are human-made. However, even if 1 out of a million it happens to be not human-made, that will be the biggest discovery ever made by humanity. And of course, we all hope that there would be something like that. And it's, this partnership between scientists and government is thanks to the directive from President Trump and the Trump administration. And so we are grateful for it. And we hope that we can do better than previous committees that looked into the subject, because we have a real response. I don't think we're being tricked. I think there is really interest within government to get to the bottom of this, because at the very least, it's a matter of national security.
Well, it's very clear from.
Okay, Daryl, you around? We lose Daryl. Earth to Daryl.
I am here.
We got a couple national securities to check up on. The audience has been calling us out, but we have been clinky.
Take your drinking.
All right, there we go. Now back to our regularly scheduled program.
Bobby and his sensors.
From the discussions we have, that the Office of the Director of National Intelligence is very serious about this on multiple fronts. And one of them, another front is the history of this. What the intelligence community already knows about UAP or UFOs, which isn't to say that then you don't need serious scientific research. You do. You might need even more than you ever thought you did. But that has made our work, I bet, a bit surprising to some of the scientists on the council, who I don't think expected to be hearing things about UFO secrecy from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, and they do hear that in the meetings. So, Garry, I was wondering what you think about the direction of the council, what you think an ideal direction for it would be, and what kind of scientific research you would hope to do under its auspice.
Well, to follow up really on what Avi just said is, look, as scientists, whether we're philosophers, psychologists, material scientists, biologists, theorists, et cetera, we need data. And so, what I've been watching happen.
Okay, for those who have thought that was a cat hanging out behind Garry Nolan, it's not a cat, it's a dog. Just clarifying that.
At least around the council itself, is, I think, a shared realization that the data that even we're being given right now from the government is insufficient. And I don't blame, for instance, OVNI for that. And it has been explained to us several times over, some of the so-called methods and sources issues that are around this, and also that a lot of the data that we want to have access to do the kinds of analyses that we would want to do, simply were never collected at the time. Or in some cases, it seems if they were there, they're no longer there. But that sounds conspiratorial, so I'm not going to go down that route. But I agree with what Avi is saying, is that rather than looking retrospectively, we need to start to plan prospectively. We could go forever relitigating past issues and who said what, where, and when, as opposed to, well, let's just do it now. Let's just do it to the future. And so, for instance, because this comes up many times on Twitter, is although I can't talk about all of it on Skywatch, about Skywatcher, is that was an attempt at the time to take matters into our own hands in a semi-military, semi-academic fashion, to basically go out into the field and see if we could cause the attraction of some objects. And there was some, let's call it, activity, but not enough that I would consider enabling to publish. Believe me, if it was, I would have done it, or to be putting that paper together. But there were lessons learned from that. But I think the other thing about the council is what they're beginning to see is, I think, that there truly is a kind of pushback and a resistance to provision of information that even OVNI is asking for. Now, again, that doesn't mean it's a conspiracy.
No, it's not a conspiracy. OVNI is getting pushback. Stephen Miller from the executive branch is getting pushback. So there's a bunch of different people who are working on half of President Trump to bring this out, but they're literally getting, what do they call it again, administrative suicide by the gatekeepers of information, we can go ahead and call it, within the different branches, by these unelected bureaucrats that are no more, this is the deep state that's covering this up, and they don't want us. They don't want the scientists. They don't want the president to have the answers.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. You didn't.
I clicked to the wrong place.
Let's do it now. Let's just do it to the future. And so, for instance, because it just comes up many times on Twitter, is although I can't talk about all of it on Skywatch about Skywatcher, is that was an attempt at the time to.
Okay, sorry, we're going to hear this a little bit. I accidentally clicked to the end of the video like a schmuck, and all right, here we go.
Take matters into our own hands in a semi-military, semi-academic fashion to basically go out into the field and see if we could cause the attraction of some objects. And there was some, let's call it activity, but not enough that I would consider enabling to publish. Believe me, if it was, I would have done it, or to be putting that paper together. But there were lessons learned from that. But I think the other thing about the council is what they're beginning to see is I think that there truly is a kind of pushback and a resistance to provision of information that even ODNI is asking for. Now, again, that doesn't mean there's a conspiracy. It just means that I think everybody is coming to terms with the fact that it's not just snap your fingers and somebody gives you a Dropbox link and you can download everything. So I'm happy seeing people now come up to speed, and I'm happy seeing, let's put it this way, a level of, let's call it frustration that is driving us to ask for more. And I think we're being listened to. Whether the people who are listening to us are going to be able to be responsive is another question.
Well, what's remarkable, Garry, is that, I think you and I are acutely aware of the fact that there should be all sorts of scientific data that is classified and in compartments that it would be very difficult for anyone here to get to, even if we had the best security clearances in government. And yet there seems to be a very good faith effort to try to bring out what can be brought out to members of the council to do really advanced scientific analysis on it.
But just look at what's happened. Even though I think some of us were somewhat shocked, Dr. Phil is out there promoting the fact. Dr. Phil had David Grush on, and while I think some of us were a little bothered by it at the beginning, maybe it's what's necessary to socialize the issue and bring it to a larger audience. So, it is respected and paid attention to in ways that if it weren't for the efforts of the Council and Galileo Project, Sol and others, that it would never have been before. So I'm happy to see 1,000 flowers bloom, or whatever the right analogy is.
And the important thing to say is the best is yet to come.
Yeah, Avi, we appreciate your optimism on that. That has been helpful to many of us who have felt like we were in the trenches of a fight for a long time, and it gives us energy. So, and it's also been interesting for me to see the two of you working together, because you guys have very parallel but unique approaches to science. And I think that's going to be a winning combo as data is brought forward. But I want to shift a little bit of our gears here, and Anita, ask you what you're making of this. You're tremendously successful in the fields you work in, both in relationship to government, to industry, and universities. But you're fairly new to the UAP topic. You've been talking to Avi, Hal Putoff, myself, Carl Nell for a while. What are you making of all this?
Well, I think I'm like a kid in Candyland. I feel like this is one of the most fundamental questions in our science, in our physics, in biology, and even for humanity. Are we alone? Are there others? So I think from a pure curiosity perspective, it's fascinating. I feel that we must be open-minded as scientists to what reality could hold, but I think we must be even more ruthless in demanding data and evidence, as echoed by the other my colleagues before me. So I feel this kind of this sort of Zen state where we have, I have this kind of fascination and curiosity about the possibilities, and just the ability to wonder and imagine is really brings out that kind of childhood curiosity, which I love. And at the same time, ask questions, probe, and really get hard data, and not assume, as Avi said, one way or another. And I think that it seems, just walking into this arena, that there are silos of, people on both sides of a camp that have drawn their battle lines and picked their positions. And I love the approach of this committee. And as Avi said, just, the freshness of the open-mindedness to ask the questions and the ability to go after new data. Why are we limited by the technologies and the data of the past? Today, technology has moved at exponential paces, and bringing multiple silos and disciplines together to attack this problem in a multifaceted way is something I'm very excited about. I would say that one thing in particular or actually two things that I particularly am fascinated by, I spent a long time thinking about what's the physics of living systems, and what's the boundary between inert matter and living matter, and at what point do we say matter is living or non-living, sentient, non-sentient, intelligent, non-intelligent, or systems that are intelligent or non-intelligent. And I feel like these questions would become relevant as we start to look at hard data that's coming here. Presumably, depending on what the data shows. And the second thing is we need tremendous amounts of multimodal data, not just little snapshot data. So if we can take multiple kinds of data on the system, that the so-called UAP phenomena, as well as the impact it has on its environment and vice versa. So I feel like there's a whole new modality of how we can go after not just a whole bunch of new kinds of sensors, but how we integrate those sensors and improve the resolution both spatially and temporally to get high resolution data on these systems.
Peter, if I may just make an important addendum to what Anita just said, you might think that science is always progressing forward by collecting new data. The problem is that scientists are not willing to imagine some possibilities, so they don't collect any data on those possibilities. Just to give an example, the astronomy community that I belong to defined it as its highest priority for this decade and the next decade to build a space telescope that will search for the chemical fingerprints of microbes in the atmospheres of exoplanets. That's also...
Okay, I got to say this, Daryl. We don't give a fuck about this, just being honest. Nothing against Avi. We're talking about aliens that are here. We don't care about a telescope that can look for microbes in an atmosphere of a planet across the galaxy. We got stuff going on here, and we just have to really focus in and forget about all this glamorous just science hobnob stuff and get down to the task at hand. Don't distract, You're muted, my friend.
I just sent you a super chat before you even just said what you just said, but it means exactly the same thing. New sensors, data, research boards, books, papers, movies, Congress. There are verifiable videos of detained live aliens whistleblowers have told us about. That's all we need. Just everybody focus. I started to think, why doesn't everybody just focus their attention on that? And then I think, well, if everybody focuses their attention on that, then they'll destroy them.
Right.
Or they'll permanently put them somewhere where nobody can find for 1,000 years or some bullshit like that. So it's got to be done covertly, I would think.
Potentially.
Somebody's got to do that.
Someone's got to do it, and let's get Avi to focus on what we're going towards, not some big grand scale of investigating the beginning of life in the universe and how much everything is spread beyond our planet. No, we need to figure out what's here, and that's why.
And by the way, that's the whole plot of Disclosure Day. Isn't it? Isn't that what they do? Is they bring forward the video that everybody watches and goes, "Oh my God,
it happened." And they show the horrible things that are being done to the non-human
Right.
intelligence by the humans.
Yeah, show us that shocking video. That's it. That's all you need to do. Fucking Avi Loeb, all these people, the books, the fucking movies, all the grift, Stephen Greer, can all go away.
Yeah. It's true. It's true.
The goal, of missions that go to Mars or other objects in the solar system, but they're not willing to imagine that there might be intelligent life out there that may be easier to detect. This is a taboo. So you might say, oh, we should have detected evidence for that. The answer is no. If you are not searching for the evidence, you will not find it. And the same holds for objects near Earth. If there are technological products of other civilizations that arrive close to Earth, if we are not looking for it, if we are not studying the subject, we will never find those. And I should say that I was at a dinner just a year ago at a conference where a quantum gravity physicist, one of the most accomplished, said to me, I just cannot understand how you came up with the possibility that Oumuamua might be a technological object. And I said, this was a conjecture, and I'm putting it to a test. If we get enough data, we will be able to figure it out. The same thing about UAP. You put a conjecture, maybe some of them are alien technology. You can test it by collecting better data. But this quantum gravity theorist was telling me the chance for that is absolutely zero. There is no way by which we will be visited by technological gadgets because, the Milky Way galaxy is so big.
The problem, he's talking to quantum theorists. He isn't talking to ancient astronaut theorists. Just saying.
And I told him, look, you're practicing quantum gravity since I started doing physics over the past 50 years. The best physicists were arguing that there is a new symmetry of nature called supersymmetry. And that was at the foundation of string theory, for example. And I told him, this is your field. And all the experts say, yeah, supersymmetry is very likely to exist. And we just need to build the Large Hadron Collider and we'll find it in the natural parameter space. So everyone said, this is a reasonable thing. We need to invest $10 billion in the Large Hadron Collider. And guess what? It was not found. Okay, so you are coming from a field that was absolutely sure that there is supersymmetry and it was not found after we did the experiment. And you are preaching to me that you know the answer, about the nature of UAP or interstellar objects. So I say that is completely inconsistent with the approach of science. If you were open-minded enough to invest $10 billion and you didn't find what you were looking for, you should be open-minded to my conjecture. And somehow the discussion about objects near Earth that might be technological, is forbidden. And again, I bring back the idea of behaving like a kid, because nothing is forbidden for a kid.
But he was talking in this manner about UFOs, about 6 months ago? And everything else, and saying everything else isn't real, taking anything that anyone brought forward as sightings and just ripping them to shreds on any
It's
kind
all
of evidence.
prosaic. It's all Chinese balloons. Yeah, I remember. But it's nice to see Avi animated and pissed off and ripping a new asshole to that string theory scientist defending UAP and NHI.
All right, we have evidence enough of string theory along with dark matter, right?
Yeah,
there is no evidence. They have nothing, and they've invested billions upon billions of money into it, and they have nothing to show for it. We live in an electrogravitic universe. Dark theory, I agree. They call dark matter, but
I agree with years and billions of dollars and we have nothing to show for it. But yeah, I didn't mean to cut Daryl off. Go ahead, Daryl.
No. I'm pretty sure I cut you up. Anyway, I agree with you, Mike, that he is totally upset. And in fact, he is literally beside himself.
But
it is a picture here, a picture here, a picture over here.
You could say he actually has eyes on the back of his head.
His own eyes.
His own eyes.
No, but it really is a change to see his Israeli get up and really defend this subject and go after the other scientists. It was nice. 50 years, billions of dollars, and you ain't found shit, is what basically Ozzy was ripping him in the asshole about. I think the best way to
examine this is look at the expression on the face of the other people as he's going off on this.
But you know, he's not wrong. So he's absolutely right about what he said.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice to see that.
Oh, yeah.
It's about time.
It's only the adults that put these obstacles about what we are allowed to talk about.
It kind of reminds me in a way of how the brain changes around the age of 11 or 12. Before 11 or 12, you can learn languages very easily. But then after that, the neural patterns, if you haven't learned to learn languages, it's pretty much set in place. And I think what Avi's explaining is sort of an adult version of that. A version of reality for many people is set in place and is now immutable. And yet some of us remain with that open-minded approach to things. So just wanted to throw that in there.
And there are 20 of us in the council that are open-minded. So it's not like only one person in the world. I mean, there are, and my guess is if we find evidence, immediately...
Wait a minute. He said there's 20 of us that are on the council that are open-minded. Now, does that include Michael Shermer?
No, it doesn't.
I know, but there are 20 people, and he's throwing Shermer into it. Just saying.
I mean, Shermer is like the fucking weirdest fucking dude. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, I understand you want somebody who's a skeptic, but if you're a good scientist, you're your own skeptic. You're everything's skeptical.
Yeah. Until
you prove it.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. That's right.
True.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
If you can prove it.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. It's true. It's true.
Will be a flood of scientists starting to work on it immediately, because then it will be allowed to discuss it. So there is this phase transition. Once you find the evidence, everyone wants to work on it. But the problem is, before you find the evidence, if you don't allow a discussion about finding the evidence, then you will never find the evidence and you will stay ignorant. And that's the situation that we're in, for decades on this subject.
Well, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence has created, I think, a strange situation for many of the scientists involved, even in some way yourselves, because where you have to put your mind to is on a bunch of testimony, too, that is coming from retired intelligence officers, scientists who work with the intelligence community, even senators, people in the cabinet. And, I want us to pause and reflect on that. I mean, what are you all making of the fact that the principal deputy director of national intelligence, in principle, the second highest intelligence authority in the United States, has put in place implementation instructions for Trump's executive directive, which waives NDAs for people in the intelligence community who might have information on UAP. And those implementation instructions basically say, look, the entire workforce in the intelligence community will be compelled to share information with us if they have it on UAP and classified UAP programs. What do scientists do if they find out that there really is information there and that some of it is scientific data?
Really quick.
I would love David Rush to show us the hangars of where, all these objects that he was talking about. He's talking about dozens of objects that were retrieved from alien technology and also biologics. So maybe he can become a tour guide for the council and show us these places. I would love to see the evidence. Without
you
it,
don't
of
have
course,
top
we don't
secret
know
clearance.
what is out there.
Dumbass.
Garry, what do you think?
Yeah, I kind of feel like he's joking around here, and now he's poking fun because he knows he doesn't have top secret clearance, and he knows he can't get in there. So he's just wasting our time. This is my point. This guy's he's not serious about his job.
If he could get there, it would give him the information that the scientists want to learn. They want to get past just looking at the fucking blurry dot videos that are redacted they'll never get answered to. They want to be able to get to the place to see the craft, to see the bodies for themselves, and good for them for asking for it, even though there's not a snowball chance in hell.
Not a snowball chance in hell. And that's my point. That's my point. He's supposed to be educating the people. So I maybe if he worded it differently, like, hey, this is one of the problems that we're running into. We don't have classified. And then he went on with the whole David Grush thing. Then that would have made a little bit more sense.
David Grush is pushing for public disclosure. You got all the new whistleblowers coming out and pushing for public disclosure. And Lou even said last night that's never, ever going to happen. They're setting people up for a fall. They're getting everybody to go ahead and say, yeah, we're going to get this. We need to be able to tell everything we know to the public. And it's never going to happen.
It's not. You're never going to get everything.
And even if they get access to some information, they're not even going to be able to describe it or talk about it to the public because of the level of classification under national security.
That's my point for commenting about Avi Loeb's thing right here. It was unnecessary for him to say that, and it's now he's making people think that his organization just needs to be given this access, and it's not even reality.
It's true. If he could get access to the stuff, he wants to get past the fucking blurry dot videos. He wants to go see the red meat.
He's not from the United States, so he cannot. He'll never get it. So that was a joke. Yeah,
Gary Nolan could get it.
They would have to replace all
those people.
They would have to replace all those people who are not Americans.
That's fine. Shift them out. Swap them out if necessary.
But as we know already, that's not enough. Even if they got top secret SCI clearance and they knew the location of a facility, first thing that they would ask them at the door is your name on the bigoted list? No. Go fuck yourself. Exactly. And then if they got that, it would be like, okay, do you have also need to know clearance? No. Well, go fuck yourself. There's the door. So even top security clearance wouldn't get them where they want to go.
Unless their name somehow got put on the bigoted list.
Yeah, they would need the president to specifically release this information.
Wasn't there something about Charlie who wanted to get on the bigot list or something?
But you know what's funny is that Mike, what the fuck is his name? Dr. Phil said,
don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining.
He said to David Grush, he said, if I talk to the president and he said, you could take me to go see this thing, something. So it's almost like Avi Loeb is saying, hey, same thing over here, bud.
And I support it. You know what?
100%. Do it. Go do it.
Absolutely. Let's continue here.
And then write a report and then release that to the public and tell us what you found out.
Correct. With as much as they can, weaving in between the laws and the parts of national security.
Oh, tell us, give us an acknowledgement. Just say we reviewed the material and we just want to announce that
Trust us, it's fucking real.
You're not alone on this planet.
We took these pictures with the alien. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that'd be great. That's a good first start. Everybody thinks about it like it's the only thing that would happen. Yeah. No, it's
we got a picture of myself with the aliens and Mitch McConnell.
Yeah, right, and other dead people.
Exactly.
But all I'm saying is that it's not like the end all be all. It's the beginning. In the beginning, something's got to happen.
I know.
That's the tip of the iceberg. Want to do a poll, Daryl?
Sure. Let me get my phone on. Hold on.
Will the
We're
council
only like 24 minutes in,
classified information before Mitch McConnell dies?
Who said he's alive? I see no proof. We've got letters written by aides. There hasn't been one phone call, one word uttered from Mitch that anybody's heard. It's like we get at Feinstein's at this point.
Oh, we haven't heard from his wife either. Nothing.
No, they all dropped off. They did drop off. You're right. Everybody's quiet about it. They had their funeral. They made the clone. They're getting the clone ready.
The auto pen is ready to go.
They got the mask. Now they're waiting, and they found the person.
That's the hardest part. Probably is making another face like that. You can't remake another one of those faces.
Mitch McConnell, you gotta talk like a turtle.
Yep.
Okay. Wait, I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready to do a poll. What do we want the poll to be?
I don't fucking know. I didn't ask for it.
Mike, what do you want the poll to be?
Let's say if the Scientific Council got access to classified legacy
We
information.
got to shorten this, but yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Continue.
Would the public be satisfied with a simple acknowledgement that we are not alone, or would they want more?
Okay.
So again, if the Scientific Council got
access to the red meat,
Yes.
to the red
to the
meat,
beef, to the facts, would the public
Accept an acknowledgement
accept
we're
an
not alone.
acknowledgement, or would they demand to see the full
More.
data?
Yeah.
Do they want to see more?
Yeah. I'd go with acknowledgement for now. That would be
That's
the
a
next
long
step.
fucking sentence. We are limited on characters, my friend. You've never written a poll yet.
No,
no, that's okay. If the Scientific Council got access to the red meat, would the public accept that or
Want more?
yeah.
want more? And your poll is starting now.
All right, folks.
Thank
I'm
you,
going to let
Daryl.
this poll run the entire time. Let's go ahead and do it. Okay, Google. Well, the poll's not
shit,
showing
here it
up
comes.
here.
No, it should know.
There it is. I
There
see
we
it.
go. We got the poll. All right. Okay, Google. Set a timer for 1 minute and 30 seconds, please.
Got it. 1 minute, 30 seconds.
Starting now. All right, folks, here you go. This is your chance to go ahead and tell us what you think. Trust me, you already tell us what you think in the chat. Most of you, and the nasty ones get blocked. But anyway, let's get to it. Where's that sound effect, the pulsing logo? All right, let's get to it, folks, and figure out where we're going to go. If the Scientific Council got access to the red meat, meaning the truth about UFOs, would the public accept that or want more? Meaning we said we saw the evidence and it's real. There are dead aliens and there are crashed UFOs, but we can't show it to you because of national security.
Drink up, everyone.
Plinky.
Take your survey drinky, folks. There you go, Daryl. Oh, look at this. Would you look at that? When you see something like this, you have to say, look at that. Well, accept that. 14% of the audience would accept it. 86% of the audience would want more. All right, there you go, my friend. Clinky. Sweaty, take your drinky.
Drink.
There you go. Yeah. There ain't no hope. 17 seconds left, 87 votes in, 15 seconds left. Holy cow. 86%. Can we get up to 90? Just depends if we can get enough people to get us past 88 votes. I'm letting it to go a little extra if we can get to 100 votes here, folks, because we do have 363 people in the audience, and that's not even like 25% of the audience. Come on, 91 votes.
Oh.
We need 9 more, 92, 8 more votes. Come on, votes. Can we get it? 7 more votes. We're at 93 or 94. Just need 6 more votes. Come on, folks. Let's go ahead and do it. Let's get to the point. We're going to get to 96 votes. Just 4 more votes to get there. Let's cron on, folks. Find that button, select your vote, and let's get to it. Come on, 97 votes there. Just 3 more to go. 3 more of you out of the 363 people watching the show. We got 98 votes in. Can we just get 2 more? Just come on, 2 more people. We got 99 votes. Just 1 more to go. We hit 100 votes and sold. Oh, you got it. Yeah, I've been watching auctions. I've been watching auctions of construction equipment. There you go. 102 votes in. 84% of our audience wants more. 16% of the audience would accept it, but at least it's a point to say, hey, the scientists saw this shit and there's more to it. All right. On that note, is it safe to get back to it?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, let's do it. Here we go, folks.
Out there.
Garry, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I know what the response of any whistleblower is already, is that unfortunately the announcement of that there will be a waiver of NDA would...
Wait a minute. If you haven't noticed, Garry is growing a beard to match the blanket on his chair.
You could imagine set off a flurry of house cleaning amongst the places where such materials might or might not be had. And so I think unfortunately, probably the opportunity has passed for us to go on a tour guide, because the zoo has been cleaned of whatever its residents are. I would think. I mean, they'd be, if they were trying to hide something and they were just waiting for us to show up and knock on the door, they'd be foolish. If there are gatekeepers, etc. So it becomes a bit of a detective story of can you find the mistake that they might have made to track down where it was that it was moved, or you can do what Eric Burlinson has said was done, supposedly set up by the intelligence community, which is to go out to a place where some of these objects have been observed multiple times, and set up the required sensing instrumentation, and then take that instrument and then take the data from that prospectively rather than retrospectively. I mean, look, I know David Grush extremely well for 5 years, speak to him regularly. And I know, in fact, Eric Davis, who actually repeated exactly what David has said about supposed bodies. I've not seen any of these pictures, etc. And I don't know either of them that I've ever caught in alive. So they believe what they're saying. I can only, though, I can as a person believe what it is that they say, but as a scientist, I can't repeat it. And so we're left in this limbo of not knowing what it is that the past is, except it's the same report has been made so many different times, seemingly not a circular rumor mill.
Daryl, you're not drinking a Long Island, are you?
No, I had one before I joined the show.
Oh, that's my favorite drink.
It's usually my favorite too.
Equal amounts, they have to measure it. Gin, rum, and vodka measured exactly the same. A little bit more sweet and sour than Coke. Fresh lemon squeeze dropped in and poured into a separate glass. Will be the same wherever you go, and it doesn't taste like you're drinking a drop of alcohol.
But
that's the recipe, folks. Write it down.
Coming independently from multiple people across the decades. So what do you make of that?
Garry, there is one alternative interpretation. I truly believe the integrity and the truthfulness of David Grush, but one possible interpretation that is nothing to do with alien technology would be to say, of course there are projects that retrieving material and biologics from crash sites, but these are of objects that came from adversarial nations, and then we want to figure out reverse engineer the technologies that those nations have. And of course there will be different types of aliens. These would be human humans from different ethnic origins. And of course,
but I think he's missing this. He's saying the aliens are coming from different, like, ethnic origins. No, what we're dealing with here is completely different species that would have sub-origins among them. Kind of like you've got humans as one. You've got the tall whites. I mean, the Nordics, and they're like us, kind of. Potentially they could have different variations of it. But when you get to the reptilians or the insectoids, or not the insectoids, the mantis types and all that stuff, or the grays, you're dealing with completely different biological entities that are some all coming here and wanting to eat on the human race.
There are places where these are stored, and suppose people were talking about it with some code names, and David Grush heard these reports, but it's not really aliens, it's actually human-made things. So that's the only other interpretation I can give, assuming that he's telling us the truth of what he knows.
Really quick, out of all the people that are there, the two people that have the best camera setup, Peter Skafish, Anita, followed by Avi and Garry. Unfortunately.
Wait, what's the guy's name on the bottom right?
That's Anita.
That's a cute
Dr.
young boy.
Anita Goel.
Oh,
it's a woman.
Cute young boy.
Looks like more Anita gender.
Oh God.
So then the question is, how do we know if it's?
That's the last name of somebody that I know very close to me at work.
Gender?
It's this interpretation.
No, Goel.
Oh,
Yeah.
Or real aliens, non-human.
I agree completely. I agree. I mean, I am flummoxed as to how to deal with the information I get. I mean, you probably as well, as you've gotten into this, and Anita, I'm warning you what's coming. There's so much strangeness that you will sit and listen
Watch
to.
the expression
Just
on
because
her
I'm
face.
listening to it doesn't mean that I agree with it. It to me is just data going into a repository into my head, looking to make connections eventually. But I really think it's going to come down to either a new kind of citizen science, such as what the Galileo Project is doing, or a government-sponsored or even commercially sponsored prospective search for this kind of data. Or somebody is going to dig up some documents that actually point to something that was moved or hidden that you can get to fast enough. But Peter, I want to address one point that you raised there about the NDA. DLA Piper, a very well-respected legal firm, issued a legal opinion, if you will, where basically had a lot of stuff about what the thing was, but the key line in the document was, we think you should await further guidance because the current order from come on high is insufficient to protect you. More or less, I'm paraphrasing. And so there was that. Another lawyer friend of mine sent me a very long list. I'm going to ask him if I can post it into the council's message board. Basically, repeating some of the holes that are in the so-called waiver that still put people at risk, and there are unfortunately documented retributions from the government on whistleblowers who've come forward, and that sets a very cold tone. And so Arrow and ODNI have to overcome that somehow with a kind of legal force that will make the lawyers of the whistleblowers feel comfortable to tell their clients, come forward. Because every time that I've made an emotional choice of what I want to do, based on a legal opinion, they say you shouldn't do this. I said, well, I'm going to do this anyway. I was wrong and I paid for it.
Well, there's a book out there talking about emotional intelligence, and it always comes down to being strategic, not always following the gut. Hey, Daryl?
exactly, Thomas.
Hey, it sounds like Mike a lot of times when we catch a meeting.
Yeah. Oh,
So
the
listen
meal's
to your
great. Thanks for
lawyers.
asking one of them.
Well, and yeah, and
Yeah, exactly.
we should say I don't think anyone here believes that would be without legal risk.
Is that a fucking chocolate chip cookie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought I saw fucking dough and chocolate chips getting shoved in there. God damn it.
Oh, yeah. Somebody over here is definitely...
You could give them the cookie part, just none of the chocolate chip. I do it to my dogs.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not giving... there's too many chocolate chips.
Well, you can find a little bit and give it to him without the chocolate in there, and he'd love you for it.
My own conversations with retired intelligence community officials, one of whom was a major oversight official, indicate that even if this has full backing from the president, it's very standard for an intelligence agency to send that kind of memo to their Office of General Counsel. And the Office of General Counsel will immediately say, okay, the information that's wanted here is exempt and for the following 7 reasons, and no one should send information up the chain at all. It's not even a question of talk to us first. It's just we're not going to comply with this until we receive further instructions. And I'd say that's fairly standard in the intelligence community. I pointed that out, and I want to emphasize this because, the counter argument to the possibility that everyone is confused here, which I don't believe is the case with David Grush. I don't believe it's the case with Hal Puthoff. I don't believe it's the case with Eric Davis. And I could name, 10 other people like that. The counter argument is that you could very easily verify.
Remember that guy who tore completely into Dr. Phil when I read his message about stuff?
What about him?
He's done the same thing lately to Dr. Eric Davis.
Really?
Really? I don't get it, man.
No.
I just don't get it. I mean, and if people don't know out there, apparently Dr. Eric Davis had a stroke in the not too distant future. Not too distant past, and that's why he eats salads at this point, because that's all he gets to eat potentially to keep other strokes from happening. And that's also why he talks and is kind of out of one side of his mouth than the other.
Well, that explains a few things.
Yeah, it does.
By not going and looking in a hangar for some kind of piece of technology that wasn't anthropogenic, you simply could internally get the records that show there is such a program. It says it's about the following things: non-anthropogenic technology, for example, or as we hear, off-world technology. Get enough confirmation from people internally that yes, that's what we work on. And then the matter is solved internally. The question is how then do you communicate to the public that, okay, yes, part of the intelligence community knows there are technologies not made by human beings. And I think that's where it comes to the natural sciences, as you all have pointed out in different ways. That even if all of that is true, verification will still need to come publicly from scientists.
Where's more?
And so, I want to ask Anita, what are you most impressed by that we're hearing from OVNI about the data they have that suggests there really is something to look at? We've heard about luminous orbs of different kinds, and also kite-like.
Wait a minute. He said luminous orcs? No, orbs.
About luminous orbs of different kinds, and also kite-like triangular objects.
He's not running for Florida.
Yeah, so
governor.
I would want to say two things. One is anecdotal data are still a form of data, and it's information. And there may be noise, there may be signal, but it's still some information, and it might help point us in the right directions, help us think about what kind of sensors we might want to think about, where we want to put them, how we want to collect the data. So I would say anecdotal data is still some kind of data that shouldn't be thrown out the window. Sometimes it's all you have in the beginning until.
So why don't they team up like with the Nightcrawler guys on the East Coast who are collecting data, or the Pro Pixel guy who's getting data every single day and with his equipment that he has, or David Mason. So there are experts in image and data collection for UAP that are outside of their little elitist circle that they could bring him and start giving them the data that they need to understand what's going on with the UAP. Right, Daryl?
Yeah, the data.
The data. Joseph.
The Tedesco brothers. They should contact them. Yeah.
Go ahead, Joseph.
You just hit the nail on the head for me, Thomas. And I wanted to take that one step further. There is data, as you say. There are experts in all the fields for the videos, for the stories that are told in the documents. And I believe exactly what you said. These people should get together. You're saying bring it to the council. What I'm going to go out and say, they should be explaining what we're seeing in the videos and what we're hearing in the documents to us, the people, the public. This is a government board, and that's what I think they should do. And I think people would become a little more interested and a little more comfortable with it if these things are explained to us. I think Dr. Phil had mentioned this. That
right, but
maybe
if it jump in really quick, Joseph, what you're talking about, like what the scientists are getting into now, if you won't give us the data, we'll go out and get it ourselves. And they should. They meet once a week, and they should start figuring out who can we go to, what can we do, what do we need to do. Talk to Kevin Knuth and the contacts he has, and he's on the council right now. Get Matthew Zadegas involved, and maybe we can get some observations of those chevron-shaped craft. They're invisible. You can only see them with a camera that can detect long-wave infrared IR down to negative 60 degrees Fahrenheit, and then you'll start seeing these things are fucking everywhere. So if they're going to say, you're not giving us the data, pursue, but we've got something we can do on behalf of the people for the federal government, fucking do what they can do, go around the government and start getting their own data if they're unable to get the national security clearance that shouldn't be necessary, because you know what, my friends, all the videos that were brought out by Jeremy Corbell, it had all the information, it had the lat long, had the distance, had the size, and everything else. You know, have they gone after Jeremy Corbell for the release of that top secret information that's clearly classified that requires a national security clearance to even see it?
No, as far as I know,
Nope.
even though he's dropped off the face of the earth.
Maybe that's why he's dropped off the face of the earth, because the truth of it is he does have a lot of stuff that's in violation of our national security laws, even if he has, he's a journalist, a researcher. Either way, there's no way getting around it. It's called frickin' treason. Hate to say it.
I agree with that.
But I like that he's giving us the information, and we'll use it.
Yes.
But there's some heavy-duty penalties behind what he's been doing, and especially the people that have been given it to it, and there's a path that they can follow to get to it. Let's hope they don't go there, but legally, they can.
Right.
Here we go.
Well, again, I really think that this body here should monthly go to the tranches.
They meet weekly.
Or weekly, or however they want to do it.
Yeah.
Attach the associated documents
They've
with
already
the video.
requested 50 files with unredacted information.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah.
That would be great. But what I'm saying is the one step further, I think, is explaining it to the general public.
They will.
Just like you do for us, Thomas.
Yeah.
You go through all of those videos and those documents, and you tell us your expert opinion on what's happening and what's going on. And I think they should be doing that for the public.
Well, let's hope they can get there.
Yes.
It's just a start. It's either the start of something wonderful or the start of a freaking disaster, and it's just going to roll through it. But let's get back to this video. Here we go.
So we can go through and more systematically go after much better data. But knowing that kind of surround sound helps us design our strategy. So I think anecdotal data of all types, even if it's testimony, is good. I think it gives us a sense of what could be going on. We have to certainly filter the signal, noise, and false data, or whatever, false information. But it's a very critical in this field, in early fields, when fields are first being kind of, it's sort of, before California was colonized, there was the Lewis and Clark expeditions. And sometimes you were just getting anecdotal data. So this is sort of anecdotal data that will help us define how to map out the field, both from an experimental point of view, but also from a theoretical point of view. We're constantly trying to build a picture of what is the reality that's actually going on. And in my view, it's an iterative theoretical physics or theory and experiment going hand in hand, where you're getting data and you're trying to make a picture that you're then going back and testing through your experiments, and you're iteratively refining your framework to understand reality based on this iterative handshake between the picture in our mind and what nature is really telling us. And the more we can start to ask better questions and build better frameworks and theories and experiments that go hand in hand, the closer we're getting out to tease out what reality is really doing. So that's one point. In terms of what's fascinating, I am personally intrigued by this idea of these plasma orbs. They seem very interesting. It sounds like there's detected. We can data, and could it be, plasma that, we can create plasma. There's a lot of well-developed plasma physics. It can do plasma on lower altitudes, plasma at higher altitudes. Could there be some interesting phenomena, properties of plasma going on? Is there an element to it that is beyond just something that we know about plasma physics? Is there some new characteristics? I think it's fascinating. And I also think we have to be open to the idea that there could be new discoveries that would lead to, really advancing science in new ways. When we started space exploration, it created all kinds of applications on Earth that were beneficial to humanity. So I think we have to just keep an open, multidisciplinary mind, but be very exacting on the data and the evidence, as we iteratively build hypotheses and test them. So I'm not sure if I answered your political question, but I think from a scientific perspective, I feel like anecdotal data, testimony, any data we can get our hands on is good. Being able, the second point is, if we could create a version of like a new Manhattan Project where we had some of the best minds, proper funding, and we went after this, I think we as the human race and scientists could solve this problem pretty quickly. In terms of, is something real? What is it? So I think we need that kind of concerted effort, which would take not just a disclosure, whatever the policies are, but maybe a dedicated budget to allowing, and that would overcome the stigma problem overnight, to allow people to actually work and try to solve this problem. And it could lead to tremendous improvements in U.S. national security and economic technological competitiveness. And as if there is something real here, it would be tremendous for the United States and for humanity in general, in terms of the implications. And I know, Peter, your foundation has been thinking deeply about what does this mean, not just for science and technology, the whole human race. And so I think this would be something, this is a potential inflection point for us. And I think it makes sense to have a commensurate investment of talent and investment and resources to try to address this problem. And it would create downstream technological and industrial implications too. It's not just basic science and geopolitical.
Just a small footnote to what Anita very, very eloquently said. When you have a stranger visiting your backyard, the fundamental question is similar to what Shakespeare asked, but a little different: to shoot or not to shoot? And the reason I'm saying that, because if you shoot and bring something down, you can examine it. But so in case we're dealing with, let's say, Chinese spy drones, it's completely legitimate for the Pentagon to shoot Chinese spy drones over strategic assets. If we are dealing with some intelligent beings that we have no idea about, it may be ethically inappropriate for us to do it, and also it may be dangerous because they might respond with hostility against hostility.
Here's the one thing that's missing, Mike, is that all the information they've had of the repeated actions that they've done to call these things in, potentially shoot downs and everything else, all that information has been held back from the science team. They have no idea, as much as we have no idea.
Yeah, the public and the science teams have been kept in the dark on this.
Because if you look back in time, 1952, when he had the flyovers of Washington, D.C. over 2 consecutive weekends, Einstein reached out to the president immediately and said, do not try to engage, do not try to shoot these things down. Of course they did, and they got a piece of debris off of one, apparently. Not a good idea.
Well, Stephen Hawking said the same thing before he died.
Oh, yeah, he said, don't send out signals to the fucking universe to go ahead and invite in a more advanced species to go ahead and colonize our planet and destroy humanity, basically.
Yeah, and he said if you pick up on a signal that you really was advanced, run. Don't engage.
Yes.
Hide.
Exactly.
He wasn't wrong. Good points.
Yep.
Just a footnote on how to approach this. We need to first passively collect information before we decide whether to shoot or not to shoot.
A small footnote, Ali. Very tiny footnote there.
Well, I could actually say something about to shoot or not to shoot, because there's been questions about Skywatcher at one point. I refused to take part in any effort to shoot anything down, and everybody that I know who was on that signed a pledge that they're...
Oh, fuck. God damn it. Oh, fucking A.
I mean, we have, for instance, on the council...
Hold on, I need to find out. I just clicked into this stupid thing, unfortunately, and I want to go ahead and find the spot on this. Let's talk about this for a second, Mike. Fucked up.
Yeah, so I wasn't aware, Daryl, were you, that Skywatcher was trying to shoot these things down? I thought they were using James Fowler's dog whistle try to attract them.
Right. Well, and Gary's on the inside because he's part of that Skywatcher organization, so he would know.
Yeah, he should know, but no one else has publicly said anything about a private organization trying to shoot anything down. That's what I find interesting, really interesting.
Correct. Yes. I tell you what, I want to go back to the video itself over on YouTube. Sorry, audience. Yeah, I fucked up. I just want to get us back to exactly where it was before I screwed things up. Let me get to the channel. Yeah, I'm going to go watch myself talk here. Let's get into it. Myself talk here. Let's get into it. Myself talk here. Let's get into it. There we go. I turned it off. This is right before Avi was talking. Let's hear what they're saying. I'm in Brave. Oh, here we go.
To have a commensurate investment of talent and
investment of talent.
It was past that.
I know it's right past that, but that's just finding the exact a similar point. Reveal and Finder. SRT open with, let's get this here. Other, I'm gonna get to my text editor. Sorry, audience, I fucked up. I'll admit it. I'll take the on that one. Let's get to Sublime name, Sublime text. Open up. Cancel. Investment had a commiserate 38 minutes 11 seconds in.
Sounds about right.
Oh, wait a second. That's 0. Hold on. Oh, this gives me. It doesn't tell me how many seconds. Okay, this is my show.
Oh, we should.
I need to get out of this. I need to go at 38 minutes and
11 seconds.
18 seconds in. I was on the wrong show. 38, 18. There we go.
Of talent and investment and resources to try to address this problem. And it would create downstream technological and industrial implications too. It's not just basic science and geopolitical.
Just a small footnote to what Anita very, very eloquently said. When you have a stranger visiting your backyard, the fundamental question is similar to what Shakespeare asked, but a little different. To shoot or not to shoot? And the reason I'm saying that, because if you shoot and bring something down, you can examine it. But so in case we're dealing with, let's say, Chinese spy drones, it's completely legitimate for the Pentagon to shoot Chinese spy drones over strategic assets. If we are dealing with some intelligent beings that we have no idea about, it may be ethically inappropriate for us to do it, and also it may be dangerous because they might respond with hostility against hostility. Just a footnote on how to approach this. We need to first passively collect information before we decide whether to shoot or not to shoot.
A small footnote, Avi. Very tiny footnote there.
Well, I could actually say something about to shoot or not to shoot, because there's been questions about Skywatcher at one point.
There we go.
I refused to take part in any effort to shoot anything down, and everybody that I know who...
Quick thing, audience, watching YouTube. Is this thing lagging right now? I'm seeing from my side, it kind of is. When I loaded my application, it'll bring something up. It started freezing, and I'm watching stuff on YouTube now, and maybe it's fine, but it looks like it's kind of lagging right now. Yes, it is lagging. All right, give me 2 seconds. Let me go ahead and fix this. Hold on, folks. We'll be back in a second. God damn it. Force quit. We go to OBS. Do it again, really. And we're back. Sorry about that, folks. Yeah, I clicked on a button. I went to fix something when I brought up the application to download everything. Yeah, it fucked with everything. So, audience, glad to see you're still hanging around. I'll get things under control pretty quick. Let's get back to this. Did you hear everything, or was it just the video that was paused? Audience, let me know really quick. I can rewind a little bit if need be. I heard it. So let's continue on. Here we go.
Was on that, signed a pledge that there would be no efforts to do so unless threatened. And so that's sort of a footnote to what Avi was saying. But I think that stepping into the question of biologics and also feeding off of something that Avi said about, yes, perhaps some of these programs are mistaken identity of advanced internal U.S. programs. David and Eric have made statements about seeing biologics. I don't think that's mistaken technology, unless we're so far ahead in genetics that we're now cloning and synthesizing non-human life forms, which we're not, I would imagine. But, you know, they're not the only ones who said that. I mean, James Fox on the Varginha related case in Brazil brought on a doctor who had basically said that he saw in the emergency room something that was brought from the so-called or the alleged crash that happened in Varginha. Meanwhile, the military were all swarming about, and you know he's gone on the record on that. So you know it's an anecdote, but I agree with Anita that
it's great. Again, experiences, hearing from people about things they've experienced. Wonderful. We're beyond that at this point. We've heard too many stories to count from too many great witnesses that are, you know, completely credible and stuff. We're at a point now where I don't care who comes forward next. We need to start getting some hard fucking facts and some truth we can buy into and not just stories. I think we're beyond stories now, aren't we, Mike?
Oh, my God. Since Grush testified shortly thereafter, and he promised to give us his op-ed, which we still haven't gotten. Yeah, the public is way beyond stories at this point. But what I thought was interesting is if you heard Garry said, unless threatened. Meaning what? That a private company out in the middle of a desert is prepared to fire on an unknown object? I wasn't aware of that. Have you heard anything publicly about that before?
About Skywatcher going ahead and potentially they had to go ahead and have some kind of a conversation to bring it up and say, do we want to be a part of anyone shooting this stuff down? You know, I would like to know when in the conversation of Skywatcher did that happen? Did you start that before everything was going on, or did you take the vote after you were asked?
I got a question. Who authorized that from the government? Weren't they contracted by the government to do this type of research?
Supposedly they were on their own, but it sounds like that may not have been the case.
Well, if they're acting independently as a private organization, private individuals, civilians,
independently funded.
Last time I checked, right, and they are actively engaging and firing upon unknown objects, that's a crime.
Yeah.
Last time I checked. So I was curious what Garry was talking about when he said that.
Yeah.
I know why James Fowler packed up his toys and left. He wouldn't want to be involved in that shit.
You never know what to be a part of. Exactly.
What? Right. That's right. But Garry is still sticking around.
Mm-hmm. Let's continue on as the audience fades.
You're the throwing star in the back.
A what?
You're the...
sorry about that. Here we go. Thank you. I'm sorry about that.
It's catnip, unfortunately, for at least someone like me. It's like, how can I ignore that signal? You know,
I should also mention
if you don't mind, Avi, I want to intervene here. You know, I will speak only for myself. I'm the cultural anthropologist here and on the council who deals primarily with near.
So yeah, they're all on the council. I forgot he's on the council too. All four of them.
Yep, that's right. This is the council
data, and he's the anthropologist. Basically, how would humanity deal with this?
They should really let women into this council. That's all I'm saying.
They have. Shame on you.
Yeah. But
shame on you too.
Oh please.
Oh please.
Her penis might be bigger than mine, so I really wouldn't want to know about that. They have really weird
Don't
people
even
on
go
this.
there. That's disrespectful to Anita. Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's just a joke.
I know. Joking. You of all people, Mike.
Yeah. But as far as, but listen, we heard from Robert Bigelow the other day, and he was talking about the turquoise orbs, and the ones that like to liquefy dogs. If you see that coming at you, I wouldn't stick around. I would run. There's no doubt about it. It has serious intent that you may not walk away from.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised they're not aware of that, because it's not the first time we heard about those orbs.
Mike, you've got to either you watch this ahead of time or you know what's coming next, because they are going to get into Skinwalker. When they do, watch the expression on Anita's face. It's fucking priceless. Let's get to it. Let's talk about the fucking dire werewolves.
Oh, my God. We'll see if she gets an erection.
Fucking History Channel bullshit.
What human beings have to...
Jeepers creepers, what are we finding in the hole today? Let's bring out the metal detector and find it. That's exactly what it's turned into. I'm sorry. The whole Skinwalker Ranch, I know people love it, but it's fucking Oak Island. They'll never find anything.
Never.
They'll never find the treasure.
No.
Never.
Hey, have you guys ever seen Groucho Marx before?
Yes.
Like a young Groucho Marx? Yeah, maybe like a young Groucho Marx. In a pink shirt. I don't know.
Well, if you put a mustache on that boy's face, it would look a lot like Groucho Marx.
Shame on you. Avi Loeb, or you know what, Avi, the only one who doesn't that would be why I guess Avi Loeb, he'd look more like Charlie Chaplin, I would think. Come on.
No, we're talking about the boy on the bottom.
So testimony is data to me.
Dr. Garry Nolan already has the beard.
Of course, it doesn't allow you to verify things in the way natural scientists could, but it also allows you to consider things that, as Gary has often told to me, scientists wouldn't, because they can't touch it or they can't subject it to some kind of repeatable experiment and so on. And, you know, Gary, I have to follow.
Hold on a second.
Scientists wouldn't, because they can't touch it or they can't.
See, they all want to touch it, don't they?
Can't subject it to some kind of repeatable experiment and so on. And, you know, Gary, I have to follow up by saying I interview people regularly who believe they have had encounters with strange biological beings. I can't prove, of course, that.
That is a common observation from people on Grindr, I tell you.
What they believe they experienced
that's so rude.
Occurred.
No, it's honest. I'm talking from experience. So,
okay. Well, I know what little boys are.
It did, but most of the time, I have very little reason to doubt it. If I don't think they are suffering from psychosis and delusional and are delusional. And some people, unfortunately, are delusional about such things. It's rare, but it is something you cross paths with. And then I don't doubt them if I don't think they're lying. And now and then you encounter hoaxers as well. And you know, the record of the U.S. government's own data on this, the Blue Book data, does have cases of such encounters where, on the one hand, people would see a hovering or landed UAP vehicle, and they would see something that appeared to be biological inside it through some kind of transparency. That is in the Air Force's own data from that time.
No, it's been in the data Lou Elizondo's talked about. Where the fuck is that video, Lou? We should have asked him about. Where's the video out of the side of the B-52 of the saucer that comes up and we can see the occupancy of the craft? When are we going to get that one? Or when are we going to get the video of the giant triangle that's as big as a football field that raises up out of the ocean and zooms up into the sky and everything goes away?
Yeah, the public needs to see videos like that.
That's probably, I don't know, 10 full foundation conferences away.
No.
Yeah. Hey, Grateful Benny, that's why I'm with you, my friend. That's why I was calling. Shame on you. That's okay.
And then at the same time, there were even more dramatic cases where things were seen exiting and entering things that appeared to be craft. You know, the question I often have is, when will that become the kind of data that even natural scientists take very seriously, because we learn to verify enough about UAP themselves. I mean, I could be, I'm saying for purposes of argument, I could be very, very wrong about that. Others could be wrong about that. But we go back to the intelligence community data or the intelligence community testimony. And it certainly points to the fact that that's at least taken seriously among cohorts of people in the intelligence community who have claimed they've worked on this officially. I'd tie up that point by noting that in the 2008 Democratic primary, a debate took place between Obama, Clinton, and the other candidates for the Democratic nomination, in which Dennis Kucinich was embarrassed by a journalist who said, "Well, have you, do you believe in UFOs? You claimed to see a UFO once." And he spent some time defending himself. Obama picked up the ball and said, "Well, I'm concerned with down-to-earth problems here, not these kind of fantasies in the sky." Afterwards...
Wait a minute. Hold on a second there, Baba Louie.
Here, not these kind of... picked up the ball.
When did Obama say this?
And said, "Well, I'm concerned with down-to-earth problems here, not these kind of fantasies in the sky." Afterwards...
Does anybody out there know what cartoon character that was? Chat, let's see if you get it.
Another candidate, Bill Richardson, who at the time was the governor of New Mexico, but had been Clinton's Secretary of Energy, was interviewed on NBC News, and he said, actually, we shouldn't laugh at Kucinich. I know for a fact that the government never came clean about Roswell. Very interesting statement. And I would say that we should pay attention to what CIA directors of national intelligence, senators, and even former presidents have said about this. That's the best testimony that the government may know something. But Avi, let's go back to you and actually talk about science now.
No, actually, I wanted to say something about government.
Edward got it. Quick straw McGraw. Edward Dusky figured out the cartoon character. Congratulations, my friend. You got it. Very obscure reference, but I'm glad somebody out there got it.
You might think that government, is focused on down-to-earth matters, but every now and then, by chance, they make a cosmic discovery. A very good example is what happened in the 1960s. There was a treaty signed between the Soviet Union and the United States about not exploding nuclear weapons above the atmosphere, and the U.S. wanted to verify that the Soviets are not cheating. And so there were pairs of satellites launched to monitor for any gamma ray flashes, gamma ray bursts that might arise from nuclear explosions above the atmosphere. These are called the VILA satellites. And in 1967, there was a flash detected, the gamma ray flash, and then it was analyzed. I'm sure there were a lot of concerns at first, but then about 5 years later, scientists, astronomers from Los Alamos published a paper saying these gamma ray bursts come from the universe. And it took another 25 years to realize that they come from the edge of the universe, and they actually flag the birth of black holes out of the collapse of massive stars. And so what ended up as detecting the birth of black holes from collapse of stars started as an attempt to make sure that the Soviets are not cheating.
Did he say black hole?
Yes, he did.
Black holes. Black hose.
Black holes.
Black horse, yeah.
Detecting the birth of black holes from...
Well, it's black horse, actually.
Black holes?
Black horse. That's the deadline, yeah. One more time.
Up as massive stars. And so what ended up, they come from the edge of the universe, and they actually flag the birth of black holes out of...
Black horse. Black horse.
The collapse of massive stars. And so what ended up as detecting the birth of black holes from collapse of stars started as an attempt to make sure that the Soviets are not cheating and a concern about national security. So the same may apply in this case. We're dealing with objects that were found by the military, the intelligence agency.
The woman's Dr. Anita is yawning.
Yes, she just yawned.
He must be bored with this conversation.
Agencies, as a result of concern for national security.
He's going
But
to
they may have
get
made
his
a
gender
big
studies
discovery.
class.
How can we find out? By getting better data.
And I'd like to bring it back to the council just for a moment, because, what I have been positively shocked about is as each of the releases have been made, the speed with which, especially some of the physicists on the council, have been able to rapidly deal with analyzing the videos in a scientifically credible way, getting that data out publicly, having public arguments with people in a respectful manner, and we can expect, I think, the same kind of rigor to come to anecdotes. I mean, we have, for instance, on the council, Carol Cleland, who is a specialist in statistics and scientific argument and philosophy. We have plenty of very good statisticians. So, this is, I think, one of the great reasons why when people say, well, why do we need a council? Because we already know that there's stuff hidden. Well, okay, yeah, but all the things that have just been said in the last hour. But it's like, okay, the reason for the council is because when issues come up like this, or should...
Okay, so Daryl did post a video in the back of a Kumich video. What the hell is it?
The Kucinich video that they were talking about, where he was talking about how
We're not
he
going
was
to get hit on this, are we?
It doesn't look like it.
Okay, here we go.
Was it from NBC News?
Yeah, it was a debate.
It comes in 19 seconds in. Is that correct?
Triangular craft, silent and hovering.
I'll back it up a little bit.
A triangular. This is a serious question. The godmother of your daughter, Shirley MacLaine, writes in her new book that you sighted a UFO over her home in Washington State, that you found the encounter extremely moving, that it was a triangular craft, silent and hovering, that if you felt a connection to your heart and heard directions in your mind. Now, did you see a UFO?
I did, and the rest of the account. I didn't. It was unidentified flying object. Okay, it's unidentified. I saw something. Now, to answer your question, I'm moving and I'm also going to move my campaign office to Roswell, New Mexico, and another one in Exeter, New Hampshire. Okay, and also you have to keep in mind that Jimmy Carter saw a UFO, and also that more people in this country have seen UFOs and I think approve of George Bush's presidency.
Actually,
and so wait, we're just getting started here.
No. I mean, we have about 14% of Americans say they have seen UFOs. I'm going to move.
What was the percentage?
14%.
What was that percentage?
14.
There you go.
Oh.
So it goes back. When was that?
Everybody here remember Liberation Day when Trump randomly announced this whole chart?
Well, let's get past it. Here we go.
The government ever decide that it's time to do a thorough statistical analysis of anecdotes, et cetera, they have a place to go. And if we don't know what it is, I think all of us on the council are mature enough to say, well, we know who can help us, and then basically subcontract it out, at least from an academic standpoint. Wouldn't you agree, Avi?
Yes, of course. Yeah. So we can bring it to honest discussion about the evidence and then eventually perhaps resolve it. Scientific discourse is supposed to be open. The problem with many government organizations is that they have bureaucracy that is opaque. And especially when you deal with classified information, it's a good trick not to be scrutinized. You just say something is classified, nobody would see it, therefore nobody will tell you that you're incompetent, that you can't figure things out. Whereas in science, you just lay out your argument, other people that might be better than you will be able to figure it out and help you, and it's an open conversation. That's extremely important. So keeping this subject under wraps was not just about secrecy, it was also about hiding the incompetence of the people that collected the data, because they couldn't figure out some things. And of course, the people in the Pentagon or other places they would prefer not to be scrutinized by the Congress. There is a budget of 2026 of about $1 trillion going to the defense. And if they were to admit routinely that they can't identify objects in the sky, it means they're not doing their job. And so you can understand the psychology of keeping it under wraps. But what this act of establishing the council does is bringing some breath of fresh air to the subject in the sense of opening it up for a discussion.
Yeah, and let's talk, Avi, about something that you did very recently, which I think is exactly the kind of science that everyone should be excited about. Because if let's say the grandest disclosure happens, that's only going to require more and more scientific research. There will be more questions, not less. And you published with a colleague recently a paper that deals with the question of, okay, if there was some kind of warp bubble being produced by technology passing through the atmosphere, you asked the question, well, how would you detect it? What would its signatures be?
Right. So this is an idea that started in 1994 with Miguel Alcubierre. He's a physicist from Mexico that came up with the notion that in principle, by distorting space-time, by creating a bubble of distortion in space-time, you can transport a spacecraft even at a speed that is larger than the speed of light, because if you go inside the bubble, space-time is not distorted at all, it's flat, and there the spacecraft is not moving, and so you don't violate anything, but it's just that this distortion of space-time can move at arbitrary speed. It's sort of like a pattern speed. And so that's a very interesting idea of a warp drive that can move a spacecraft at an arbitrary speed. And since then, we're dealing with 32 years. Nobody thought about a simple question of if such a thing passes through the atmosphere, would there be visible effects in the sense of this warp of space-time should disturb the air? And actually, the reason I started going in that direction was because Ross Howard asked me a question about it. And so I immediately...
Let's see if he comes around, or does he still have his head so far up his ass that he can see daylight, Daryl? What do you think?
Head still up his ass.
Yeah.
Did some calculations back of the envelope and realized that, in fact, if there is a warp drive, let's say the size of a person or the size of an aircraft moving through the atmosphere, it would produce a fireball because it would shock the air.
You have no idea.
And that heating of the air would be very bright and can be seen at a large distance. And therefore,
you're missing the point of the ability of the warp drive to go ahead and warp reality around it so it's not moving in our atmosphere, you schmuck. It's literally creating a path through it that is not subject to our gravity. It's so easy, Avi. Come on.
For you can rule out the existence of such warp drives moving at close to the speed of light or faster through the Earth's atmosphere. And gladly, there was a young scientist that works with numerical simulations of general relativity that I convinced to do a simulation, a hydrodynamic simulation of this process, and we just posted a paper a few days ago about it, where we calculated how much luminosity, how much light should be emitted by a warp drive moving close to the speed of light through the atmosphere. It turns out to be more than...
But it's not moving close to the speed of light, you schmuck. It's only moving like 56,000 miles an hour. Some of the other ones are maybe moving 3,000 miles an hour. They don't crack the sound barrier. They don't turn into a fireball. God, this guy is still a schmuck, unfortunately, because he still has papers coming out to prove the existence of this. Is like he's proving the existence of dark matter. My God.
A terawatt, that's like 10% of the global electric power consumption around the globe. That would be a huge light bulb that it would be seen at great distances. We don't see that. So you can rule out very fast moving warp drives. But if you imagine a warp bubble moving very slowly, if it moves less than the speed of sound, it would not shock the air at all. And we calculated that in principle, the orbs that are being observed or reported by the Pentagon could potentially be slow-moving warp bubbles or small warp bubbles, but it's enough to just reduce the speed to around the sound speed or less than that for it to be producing the level of luminosity that we see from those objects. And in fact, I should say these objects, the orbs that are reported by the Pentagon, are not moving very fast. They're moving, and most of the time, they're moving less than the speed of sound, so it's fully consistent. And moreover, you know,
she just wants to say something. She is just there riding her chair back and forth, and she is just fucking biting her tongue. Just saying.
You don't see, you don't hear a loud sound coming from them, which is what we would expect. So, you know, if we do more data collection, we end up, let's say, concluding that we're dealing with some warp bubbles. That would be a huge discovery about the universe, you know. And of course, one way to generate such warp bubbles would be technologically, if another civilization has that capability. I bring it as an example where new science can be discovered. And then, of course, the question is who manufactured that? But it may not be warp bubbles. It may be, you know, these orbs that are seen, maybe some other messenger from the cosmos. There are lots of open questions. We don't even know what most of the matter in the universe is. We call it dark matter. You know, maybe it's some substance that behaves in this strange way. I don't know. We should be open-minded. And, you know, all of my colleagues, astronomers, physicists, they keep thinking about detecting life very far away or detecting dark matter very far away. Or, you know, the point is that things may be much closer to us. Enrico Fermi asked, where is everybody? And, you know, one simple answer is right here.
You know, I actually wanted to ask you a question, Avi, about the speed of sound issue. I mean, even humans have started creating shapes for aircraft to overcome the sound barrier, sonic boom issue, something about putting a plasma at the edge, etc. So absent the speed of light issue, but going fast, because some of these objects seem to I'm going to use the word allegedly, even though somebody will probably quote me as having said it, I believe it. You know, going from point A to point B faster than what would be the speed of sound. Right. And so one might imagine, and I think we have to add this to the calculation, that there's a way to manipulate the edges of whatever this field is to overcome even a sonic boom at sublight speeds.
Yeah, but then you are still facing the issue of the power. In order to propel something, if it's massive, if it's the size of an aircraft, how do you propel it? And, you know, so in principle, we can learn about new technologies, new science this way. I should say also that early on in the discussions within the council, I was intrigued about the laser spots. You know, there are very powerful lasers being used by the military. We know that they are used for a variety of purposes. For example, you can use two laser beams to create sound. So in other words, if at the meeting point of the two laser beams, if you modulate the power of the lasers, you can tell a soldier, drop your weapons. And the soldier would think that someone speaks next to them, but in fact, it's just two laser beams modulating the air and creating vibrations that sound just like someone is speaking. Another use is, of course, to damage ballistic missiles. That there were new lasers developed recently over the past year that were deployed actually in the war with Iran. And finally, of course, very powerful lasers are used to create a distraction, an artificial target. Let's say you have a missile that is honed on an infrared source, and that's how it attempts to find an aircraft. But then you produce some heat source at a location, and you deflect the trajectory of this missile. And so lasers are being used, very powerful lasers. So the calculation I did was, you know, how powerful should the laser be in order to explain the Tic Tac incident, you know, the Nimitz back in 2004. That was around the time when lasers were toyed with. And it turns out that they don't have the capabilities to do that. And so one should always contemplate the possibility of black projects. These are projects that are hidden from view and also funded by a channel of funding that is hidden from view, black funding. And so there are projects like that. And I wouldn't be surprised if Area 51, has a lot of black projects that are just being tested for the first time. And of course, if citizens would see the impact of those projects, they would call this UAPs. And that was true of the B-2 bombers. That, as part of the release of documents, a lot of people thought that B-2 bombers are UFOs, UAPs, decades ago. So there must always be some kind of technologies being developed by humans. But I don't think that the orbs we're dealing with belong to black projects because...
Ryan, which part don't you like? I had to go find my book. You can't see it. It's Future War by Colonel John Alexander, retired. All the kind of stuff that Avi's talking about is all covered in his non-lethal weapons technology that was developed where? At Los Alamos National Laboratories. We did a lot of the UFO stuff. So, Ryan, what say you? Which part of Avi did I miss when I was off finding the book?
Oh, God. He was doing good at the beginning, but he seems to be twisting his mind.
Just which word? What part? Not that he's twisting, but...
The B-52 bombers that explain a lot of UFO sightings, and then just I think he's he's trying to explain things away because he's twisting his brain and not.
And that's when he started off on this bullshit, when he started trying to explain the Tic Tacs going from 80,000 feet down to 50 feet in a fraction of a second, and that they must burst into fireballs because they did the simulations and this is what they showed. Not that their math could be wrong, but they were right.
He's got a poker tail.
Yeah, he's stuttering a lot.
When he stutters, he's lying. Right.
Yeah,
okay.
He's trying to twist it into. He can't explain it using conventional physics, and he's So
okay.
I don't know. He started off good, but these last couple of comments are total bullshit.
Come on, right? It's Avi Loeb. We can't expect him to go from charlatan to the golden boy just like that. He's got a lot to go, and it shows that maybe the person who is not from the United States, who is there, but he's a professor, that he should maybe not be leading the council because he doesn't have United States citizenship, right?
Right.
That's where the board may have to make a change. Just saying. In a lot of ways, because if it comes down to only people from the United States can get national security and this board wants to get into that area, it's going to take a board that can get that clearance. Or if they're going to go ahead and get the data that Gary's looking at up there, he's trying to see the light.
There are people in the chat, they're clamoring for a poll, but I don't know what that poll would be other than should Avi Loeb speak less?
Yeah.
Is free Anita, yes or no?
No.
No.
The Pentagon,
we're not going to do a call going after poor Anita.
No. Just a lot of people, I don't know if you noticed, but a lot of people are putting in the chat free Anita, because it looks like she has something to say, but she can't talk.
Well, she's expressing with her eyes. She's an expressive person. Garry Nolan is looking up to God at this point, like, God, when is he going to shut up? And Skafish is just looking to the camera with this little kind of a smile, like, okay, Avi, continue.
Gary's like, this is going over my lunch break.
He's got the camera blocked this time. We cannot see what time it is.
I noticed. I think it's completely moved.
No.
I think it's completely moved. I don't think it's back there anymore.
No, the camera's moved. The camera's moved position.
Yeah.
The dog bed used to be more prevalent, and it's like off to the side a bit more. It probably does it to deal with the light coming in from the back. That's too much, but either way, here we go.
Anomaly Resolution Office can go to DARPA and discuss what they're seeing and ask, do you have anything?
Garry, what are you seeing? He's like a fixed
resembles this behavior? And my guess is the answer is no.
It's a remarkable statement, Avi, and it's remarkable that, if you look at what Arrow has said publicly, they've admitted they see these orbs. We're hearing the same thing in our conversations with government on the council. I find it remarkable that we're even having a conversation about what the orbs might be with serious scientists. Never thought 20 years ago I would ever hear that. Garry, I want to ask you, what do you think is the most exciting line of research scientifically, that you can participate in with respect to UAP or potential UAP? I mean, you've opened up a whole potential front of material analysis, and you've had some remarkable findings of late.
Well, I mean, to me, the most interesting is the biologics, because that is we could argue until the end of the day as to whether or not humans could create one thing or another, and what are material capabilities. And, I do know, and actually
her degree is in like microbiologics, right? So Garry is trying to set it up for Anita, I think.
No, she's an MD, right?
No.
Medical doctor.
Yeah, but she also has a PhD, and she's in microbiologics.
Oh.
Good to know. Free Anita. Let her talk.
I will. I'm going to...
Come on, Anita.
Hold on. They've got it right to the start. She is a world-renowned in nanobiophysics. I'm sorry. Not biologics. Nanobiophysics, scientist and entrepreneur, and the chairman and CEO of NanoBioSim. In other words, she's really fucking smart.
Oh, yeah.
And she's driven. And she will not take no for an answer.
Is Dr. Anita Goel married?
Could ask that about Dr. Avi Loeb.
He is married. We know that already.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's married.
Well, I believe, and I know.
What's his name?
Yeah. It's I don't even want to say it right
Let's
now.
get there.
That internal projects are ahead of us. One of the pieces that I have access to is the supposed arts parts, and I think the DOE or other group put out a report on it, saying it was X, Y, or Z, and
so arts parts was the materials that was acquired by Tom DeLonge, and they paid off Linda Moulton Howe a shit ton of money to go ahead and get those parts. They kept some of the parts, and they set other parts of the arts parts because it came from Art Bell. When he died, those stuff went from Art Bell to Linda Moulton Howe. She sold them for, more than her pussies could take, her cats, I mean, and took them and sold them to, what do you call it? To the Stars Academy. Again, some of it went to the military. Some of it they've been doing other stuff with it. Garry's got some of those. Now, Garry's talking about those parts that the military now has and what they're saying about it.
Report on it, saying it was X, Y, or Z, and Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick came out and said, "Oh, it's a missile casing." Well, I actually have access to some physics grad students here at Stanford and Berkeley, and they've looked at it, and it is strange. I'll just say that. I'm gonna hold my tongue to
fucking talk about it. Who cares if it isn't published? It's not out there. Talk about the results you've been seeing so far. My God, we should be beyond this. We're not going to release the information until we've fully conducted our scientific analysis. Why?
Oh, bullshit.
Fucking share everything. Make it open source. Come on, Garry. We need open science, please.
We know that there are private scientists working on the same material. Jared Yates and Mark Sokol from Talking Space.
But they've kind of split apart and doing their own things on opposite coasts right now.
But they've still been working on those arts parts.
Yeah.
And they found very interesting material on it.
Oh, yeah.
Not Garry's saying, oh, I can't talk about it.
Well, I know we haven't heard it, but he just started getting there. I would hope that scientists would start opening up and sharing the data with everybody, because yes, they want to go down and say, I discovered this and all that bullshit. No, I got the data that we brought out to the world, and we all discovered this, you know?
Yeah, it should be owned by the people of the world, not a government. Right.
Because I actually do want to publish it, and I want to double check a lot of other things. Now, that doesn't mean that just because it's strange, it's not made by humans. But these are material science grad students who say that they don't know how it could have been made, and they're
right. And when they've tried to remake it, coming from Hal Puthoff, they spend hundreds of millions of dollars to try and reproduce this shit. But when they were laying down the stuff on an atomic layer, like one layer of atoms at a time, like the shit you see from IBM, where they're going ahead and creating a guy on a bicycle going and actually, you know, like animating at an atomic level, that shit where they're laying it down on an atomic level. What happened when this stuff was done within the atmosphere of the Earth and our gravity, the sheets of the stuff on an atomic level delaminated and pulled apart, and they came up and said the only way this can be done is in a zero gravity environment. This is the stuff that he's talking about. So come on, Garry, let's get there.
Supposedly at the cutting edge. But even if I were to, and if we do publish it, we're just going to publish it with, here's the results. We don't know what it is.
Do it. Not just here's the results. Here's the data, and here's the results. Give us the full package, please.
And it's kind of like what Avi said before.
That way we can sick AI on this and figure out what's really going on.
Okay, world.
Exactly.
Here's the data. Somebody tell me how this was made.
Bingo! Fucking do it.
And if not, then it remains a mystery. But biologics, I'm in pretty comfortable territory if I can get a hold of some biologics to say whether it's, you know, earthly or not. But there's an escape route. I mean, let's say that whatever it is that comes here decides to use local genetics to build its own synthetic objects. So
No, they wouldn't build a synthetic object if they're building it a biologics. It's actually a real object, Mike.
Yeah,
it's been genetically engineered, but it's a real object. It's not synthetic.
No. So if Garry had access to that information, he would be looking to do DNA testing, RNA. He would be digging right into it because that's his area of expertise.
Oh, yeah.
But like we just heard on something as simple as, arts parts, he won't divulge that.
Well,
so if he did have access to biologics, do you think he would tell us? No, probably not.
Watch his face expressions as he talks about this and tell me he hasn't seen anything.
In pretty comfortable territory.
That little smile, that little smirk.
Yep.
But biologics, I'm in pretty comfortable territory.
Right there.
Yeah.
If I can get a hold of some biologics to say whether it's
looking off to the left at that point. Okay.
Earthly or not. But there's an escape route. I mean, let's say that whatever it is that comes here decides to use local genetics to build its own synthetic objects. So,
and that's what they say the grays are. They're synthetic, they're not real, but they're biological, which means they're real, but they're just genetically engineered life forms. But didn't humans just recreate something that reproduces by itself and it's all man-made? It's not a cell, but it's its own organism? That was like 3 months ago, 2-3 months ago.
Yes.
But that's what Goel, by the way, is. That's what she's known for. I was just looking her up. She's pretty impressive. She's connected to Stanford and Harvard. She's earned some degrees, but
so she's really smart, right?
She has 80 patents worldwide. Yeah. Goel has been recognized with 3 DARPA Breakthrough Awards, 2 USAID Grand Challenge Awards, NASA's Galactic Challenge Award, and multiple awards from DoD, DOE, AFOSR, and NSF. Whatever the fuck non-sufficient funds is. NSF, National Security Force? I have no idea what that is.
National Science Foundation.
But she's a nanobiologist.
Yeah, I know. She's fucking smart as ever. She's probably, Take the three of them, put them together in her own way. She's smarter than any of them in what she does. I mean, she's a scientist. She's a CEO. She runs her company, does all these things. I mean, she's a doctor. So you may make fun of how she looks and stuff, but you know what? I've seen other scientists who are out there. She's a beauty queen compared to some of them, if you know what I mean, Mike.
Oh, my God, yes.
Yes, she is. And there's nothing wrong. She's from India or that particular region. Everyone has a different makeup, and if it doesn't fit what everybody sees that's out there, I'm sorry, but she's polite. She's fucking intelligent, and you know it seems like, is she a citizen of the United States, Daryl? Please.
I'm trying to find that out.
Ask
it's interesting
that question
that
if we
give
can. Gary Nolan is, because she would be a gem if she's a citizen of the United States, because she would have the clear. She could. With what she's doing and the award she could clearly get the clearance required.
Nanobiism.
Well, not Nano Biden.
No, that's what she's known for. Nanobiism.
Is she a citizen? Is she a
U.S. citizen?
Don't know, man.
What's her last name?
Goel.
That's so weird too. Her name is. What do you need? Anita Goel.
Oh, she's found her goals already.
Yeah.
I might be fooled yet again, even because they've used the local flora and fauna to build something out of it and embody themselves within it. I mean, that's what I would.
Oh, I mean, God came down and created man in its likeness.
Yeah.
Yes, she is the founder of. She is a U.S. citizen. So, yes.
There you go.
We got one. We got one.
Do if I were going to somewhere else.
By the way, Garry, I should say I have a collaborator that who is originally from Norway. His name is Stein Jacobson, and he's offended by the suggestion that
she is American-born and she would be considered to be ABCD. Just saying that. If you know what you mean, you know what I'm talking about. So, yeah.
There is a brand of aliens called Nordics because he's very proud of his Viking heritage.
So tell him that he should be so proud that the aliens decided to use them as the seed population for their Nordic intermediaries. Hey, while Anita's camera is frozen, a quick question about the warp bubble.
We didn't even realize
would
it.
something within a warp bubble be affected by Earth's gravity?
Oh God!
Yeah,
right
well,
back
if
to
it has a mass. So in our analysis, actually, there is a solution to a warp bubble that has zero mass. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's basically just a distortion of space-time. It's an empty bubble that is moving, and that's exactly what we considered. No mass whatsoever, and so it has no inertia.
How does he do the thing? I have to bring up really quick. Where his whole mouth is like a fucking
as it
V.
moves through the Earth's atmosphere is just a result of the distortion of space-time, because the air molecules are following, the geodesics, the trajectories in the curved space-time associated with the warp bubble. So that's an amazing thing, that an empty bubble that has no mass whatsoever can still disturb the air. It has no hard surface, and the air is just accelerated, and it shocks as two streams of air collide. They heat up to a very high temperature. That's what we calculated.
But would a warp bubble shield mass from another mass's attraction?
No. If there is mass inside, of course, gravity will continue. You will be able to detect that this is a massive object from outside.
Okay.
Right. So, but the existence of a warp bubble does not require it to carry any payload inside. It's just like a soliton. It's a structure of space-time that is moving. And how to produce it is, of course, a different matter. It's not, we don't have the engineering necessary to do that, but maybe someone else did.
I just want to add an observation here. Avi, the paper you just did is an example of something where even the exposure to the UAP phenomena and destigmatizing it as a question stimulates the imagination of our physics community in a way that perhaps could, with no pun intended, break the inertia of several of our fellow physicists who
Yes.
feel that maybe they know it all and that everything that needed to be discovered in physics, was already done 100 years ago, and everything is we're just now doing incremental discoveries. And so I feel that there are kind of two big stimulating effects on our science and our, let's say, human economic and flourishing development with this UAP field. One is, getting new data, informing our worldview with, better technology, better sensors, better AI, putting the data together in a multimodal way and coming up with a better picture of what exactly is going on than just the anecdotal level, or using the anecdote to then go in and get really serious hardcore data. The second area is, even while we're in parallel trying to get that data, is just what it does in unleashing the imagination to, in effect, giving us a license to rethink and re-examine some of our assumptions in physics and our understanding of the world, and just look at our old assumptions with fresh eyes. And that in itself can stimulate a lot of discoveries, because to some extent, there were like these foundational questions in quantum mechanics that were swept under the rug because we had World War I, World War II, and we got into a shut up and calculate mentality. But this feels like it could be a fresh impetus for us to go back and rethink and not take for granted certain things, and just be able to, with the fresh eyes, look at even our theoretical assumptions. And another point is the importance of bringing together the convergence of different silos to really unlock the next quantum leaps in our understanding in science. And I think that a lot of the last century, our innovations were very siloed, and we became increasingly reductionistic and siloed, and we made great progress that way. But perhaps today we stand at a point in our human development where being able to bring information across these silos are what's going to help unlock the next quantum leap in our evolution.
And I think to that point, large language models are underutilized right now. I was lucky enough to be at a dinner hosted by a VC where some of the leadership of both.
God, I hope I could get in touch with Garry Nolan, get him off those headphones with that, and get him on a real mic with some speakers. He deserves it. He really does. Love you, Garry.
Google and NVIDIA were present as well as other, let's say, thinkers here in the Valley. And I was asked to stand up and give a bit of my story. A Nobel Prize winner from Stanford asked to give up. And then they asked me specifically after my science talk about cancer, would you mention some of your work on UAP? And what could we as a group here do? I think to this point of silos and bringing together silos, I explained to other people that large language models they're metaphor engines. They're things that find related concepts. And I basically pleaded the group, because they were the ones who could actually enable their LLMs, and these are the leading model LLMs, to encompass some of the data that they haven't. I mean, there are data sets out there. So, if you could drop every anecdote, if you could drop Keith Basterfield's work, Isaac Coy's, MUFON's.
Keith Basterfield from Australia, unbelievable UFO researcher. He's been going at it for 20, 30 years. Phenomenal guy. I'm glad he actually brought him up as the first person, just calling that out. It's important because Garry knows who to look towards. Who are the people that are getting into this and that are right on the fucking point?
You could drop Keith Basterfield's work, Isaac Coy's, MUFON's. It might be filled with a lot of rubbish, but there might be correlations in there that might stimulate people to think, because humans are only as good as much as we know. But as AI additionally gets appended to our intelligence, either through Neuralink or just fingertips or what have you, I think our ability to explore these metaphors silos will be much better enabled. So it's something that we, as a frankly council, should look into much more deeply, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree. Even though personally I'm a believer in natural intelligence, not in artificial intelligence, but I should mention an anecdote from the council. I was contacted at the beginning by a professor from the University of Colorado, John Birx, emeritus, 50 years working on atmospheric phenomena. So he's a world-renowned expert on atmospheric phenomena. And he just finished a paper. He sent it to me and said, I could potentially explain the orbs in terms of, dust clouds from meteors. And I said, I invited him to the discussion of the council, which was a couple of days later. I received this email on a flight coming back to the US from Europe. And my immediate instinct was, okay, well, let's hear about his theory, rather than what people on social media wanted me to say to him, which is, forget about it. We know that UAP are alien technologies. I didn't do that. I allowed him to present his case. And we had a conversation. We asked him questions during the council meeting. And then after that, based on these questions, one of the council members, Robin, he asked the latest version of Anthropic AI to look at the paper and comment on it. And then I asked him to forward this statement from Claude to John Birx. And actually Anthropic, Claude, gave a criticism that this expert...
She's smiling here. Look at that. Teeth are showing. There's actually a smile coming out of her face as he's talking about going to Claude.
Who is 50 years with...
That's the first smile we've seen out of her so far.
Yeah, you're right. That's exactly what she's doing.
Experience doing physics of the atmosphere. Couldn't reply to. So what did he do? He went to his Claude agent and asked his Claude agent to answer the other Claude agent. And that to me illustrated that AI is now reaching the level of, the most experienced expert.
Right, and that's how we can get to the truth, by getting the right AI model to get the data and bring it in and see what AI can figures it out, including with the arts parts. It's part of the, you got the knowledge that's there, you've got the mindset that's there, get it out of a human, throw it into AI and see what it gives us. And get not just one AI, give it to multiple AIs, but run it locally just to be safe.
And of course, that means that it's a very useful tool. And so I just wanted to mention this anecdote.
Yeah, unfortunately, Anita dropped off. I was hoping she was going to comment there. But, I use AI in my immunology work because I'm dealing with hundreds, if not thousands, of different cell states in cancer and immunology. And I can collect in my machines that I've created.
Hey, Garry, I'd love to know what's up with my immune system. Doctors have told me countless times, oh my God, you have non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. No, you have leukemia. And they always come back and say, well, no, you don't have those. We don't know what you have. You're abnormal and inconclusive. And this has been going on for 40 years, 50 years, 40 years at least. And I've been getting told that. So yeah, there's something going on. I'd love to know more.
Populated the immunologic world, collect all...
Yes, Enoch. We said that at the start of the show.
All this data, and now we're swimming in pools of information that we don't know how to put together. And I'm kind of stuck how to make meaning out of it. And I don't have every immunologist on my shoulder or immediately at my beck and call. And LLMs are there, and I built a version of an LLM, or I should say an agent-based system that allows me to do it. But I know of others in the AI field. Sorry, I should say others in the UAP field who are AI experts that are making these systems. And so I think that we as a council could do well to just stop, and in this case, a variation of the shut up and calculate, shut up and collect the data and put it and get the big models to incorporate these data sets into their next trainings so that the world at large, not just us, has access to it.
Well, my problem is with this phrase "shut up." I don't like this phrase.
I know.
I mean, when I was a kid, some adults were saying that, but I never gave up.
Yeah. No, but you understand what I mean. It's just I think we should.
Nobody should shut up. If someone has questions, they should ask them.
Yes. I wanted to make a point.
She's back.
I think that there's a lot of emphasis on disclosure, and the government is hiding something and all that. But what if we just use that as anecdotal evidence and just go get our own data and build our own theories? Now that the government has done us a favor by removing the stigma about, hey, it's bad to you get excommunicated because you asked a question. So what if we I just want to ask the colleagues on this call, what if we just for a moment suspend this whole political campaign? Okay, disclose 80 years worth of data, whatever. Okay, fine. What about just going out and getting fresh data? What about using the public domain information of whatever's out there as anecdotal evidence to put funding behind this and go put real creative minds behind this to go try to, answer the question?
Well, of course, Avi is doing that with the Galileo project. I mean, back around 2016, 2017, when I kind of became known through Twitter about my UAP interests. I said something similar to what you're saying, Anita, is that we don't need mommy and daddy government to tell us what to do or what to think. We should just, if you believe in something enough to do it and you're not hurting somebody in the process, just go do it.
Get it.
So I agree with you. It's, of course, the issue becomes funding. When everybody in at least the West thinks of funding, we immediately think of, okay, what NIH or NSF or governmental agency I should submit my grant to. And so the problem is you have a lot of, let's say, mom and pop organizations or even legitimately recognized agencies like Galileo and Sol and others chasing a very limited pool of funds of those willing to support something like this. So someone...
What if we could bring, sorry to interrupt, but
no, please.
Philanthropic, private, I mean, fortunately, America is a capitalistic economy. So, there could be a sustained, like a modern day Manhattan Project, which isn't just funded by the government, but...
Well, that's exactly right. And I propose that actually...
Thomas, disclosure tonight. I have multiple myeloma. I would love to give you some advice if you don't have a handle on things. Let's talk. Reach out to me, Thomas at disclosuretonight.com. Seriously, sinus guy. Willing to jump into conversation.
When in a forum at the House of Representatives a year ago, that's exactly right. I should also say that people who have many billions of dollars should recognize that if we discover a new technology that was not developed by humans, there would be great financial benefits to being first to be informed about it. So there could also be some...
Hold on. Do humans... Oh, God, I just had a jalapeno. Wow. Let's get into this. Do humans have the telepathic receivers as aliens often get startled by dogs and kill them, not just mind control them, but maybe humans have a receiver for control of something? Not sure. That seems a bit broad, but we'll see.
Commercial benefit to whoever invests in this research. And when you look at big projects in science, they are routinely funded at the levels of billions of dollars, okay? And on this topic, the level of funding, for example, that the Galileo project receives is millions of dollars. So I'm very grateful.
But what results have you gotten from those billions of dollars or millions of dollars? we'd like to know. Oh, yes, we are looking at the data, but we don't have nothing to share. Share the fucking data. Make it open source. Come on, scientists. Get past the point of, oh my God, it's my data. I can't share it until I come up with the results. You may not be able to find the results you need until you open source it. That's why we have open source programming, why we have open source technology. We need to have open source science, really.
To the funders, those billionaires that came to the porch of my home and were inspired by the research and provided the funds. But what I'm saying is that there is a factor of 1,000 difference between, challenging projects in physics and astronomy, and we don't always find what.
Good point coming from an attorney of the EBEs. Never forget, Avi met with Kirkpatrick to go ahead and write a horrible opinion paper to shut down the results of UAP sightings coming from the National Academy of Sciences Astronomy Division in Ukraine. So never forget that. Thank you. I appreciate that, Mike, attorney of the EBEs.
We're looking for example, the Large Hadron Collider did not find supersymmetry, did not find the dark matter. It cost $10 billion. So at the level of billions of dollars, funds are being allocated to the search for dark matter. We don't find it. Whereas on this subject, we're 1,000 times poorer. And I don't think that's appropriate given the public interest in the subject.
I'm going to jump in and say, Anita, you put your finger on one of the issues that we are told, and I would say I believe is at the heart of UAP secrecy, which is, look, if there is non-anthropogenic technology, it's possessed not only by the U.S. government, but it's somehow in the hands of some private defense aerospace contractors. The financial
yes, I want to bring this out really quick. It's in the hands of private aero defense contractors because the United States government reached out to them to have a partnership to help figure this shit out. They're not here to fucking screw the American people or anything else. They were here for a partnership because the United States government said, hey, we're reaching out to you because you're the experts. We want you to help us figure this out, and we're going to do this as a team. And somehow that approach to go ahead and saying we're a team has turned into this horrible thing and calling them UAP, reverse engineering gatekeepers. Mike, it just, I see where the people are coming from today, but in reality, we went to these companies. Why did we go to them? Because they were the experts and we wanted them to help us figure it out. So how have those people that we turned to for help become the villains of UAP GERB and everybody else?
Well, technically, when we contracted them to participate in this after Roswell, or before, they were patriots that were trying to help their country.
You're right. They were called in at a time of need. Hey, you've got this stuff. We're going to share it with you. See what you can figure out with it, right?
Yeah. And
they weren't in it to go ahead and control the world or everything else. They were dragged into this by happening circumstance.
Right. Like was pointed out, no vehicles were built during the Second World War because we were in a state of war and we needed to have rationing of all materials for the war effort.
Right.
Well, these companies were utilized in the same capacity.
Right.
And whatever the outcome of their research and decades of silence brings us till today in the 21st century. And now all of this seems to be finally coming to a head to a degree. You can't really blame them for getting involved and being patriotic. They didn't ask
to be brought into this. They were dragged into it by the federal government in a partnership where there is a shared ownership of the residual efforts that come out of it. It's not that they're trying to screw around the people of the world. No, they were dragged into it. We're going to give you a bunch of money. If you want to throw something into it, whatever we can come out of this, maybe there's something we can use, right?
Yeah, and as an example, I'll go to Lockheed Martin. And we knew that Robert Bigelow, during the OSAP days, tried to extract some of the material that they've been working on since Roswell.
Not that. Materials that they had, and they hadn't been able to figure the fuck out, and that was a Tic Tac, apparently.
But they were contracted by the Central Intelligence Agency, and Glenn Gaffney from the Science and Technology Division refused to allow a transfer of that material.
So are the people
to
in these
Bigelow.
corporations the evil gatekeepers, or is it back in the people in our government who put them in this place in the first place? Those are the gatekeepers we should be going after. The people in the government, those unelected bureaucrats who have made this stuff happen, right?
Yeah, exactly. The ones who were never elected and decided to clamp this down
so
for their own personal gain.
why should these corporations be called out, these evil entities who are doing this stuff, when they were trying to go ahead and do no difference like we had during COVID, when General Motors went and created a production line to go ahead and create, what do you call it, the stuff to help people breathe, right?
Oh, like Loeb talked to us yesterday about Ford Motor Company was producing the Jeep for the Army for the Second World War, not just Jeep itself. And we won the war because of that. So, yeah, it's not the companies themselves that are responsible for this. It is the
it's our government who put the companies and everybody else in this position, and they're not willing to go ahead and hold it for their own, for the responsibility they have, because, oh my God, people should never have known about this. Well, you never should have done it in the fucking first place. Let's be honest.
Well, like you just pointed out, in the example of the Lockheed story and the fact that they had run into an impasse where they couldn't progress further at the level of technology we had at that time, they were willing, the company was willing to transfer what they had over to Bigelow so that he could have fresh eyes and fresh scientists look into it to see if they could move forward and progress. But the U.S. government stepped in and said, absolutely not, and blocked the transfer. So it was the government that was in the way of that, not the Lockheed Corporation. And this is, I'm sure, one of many stories that have been involved with these companies since this began over 80 years ago.
Yeah. And it's all a puzzle to get there. That's the honest. That's the point.
Oh, it's too heavily compartmentalized and bigoted.
Yeah.
So unless you're part of it, you don't know anything about it, and you'll never get access to it.
Yeah. And I've talked to my resource in the back, attorney of the EBEs. We're writing the email right now to contact Dr. Anita. We're going forward. We're going after Skafish next as well. We've already reached out to Nolan. We'll see where it all goes.
That's good.
Incentives
That's
to
the
keep
right
this
move.
secret are enormous. And we've been told repeatedly by retired intelligence community officials that one of the main impetuses against the secrecy is coming from the contractors. Now, I think, to follow up on Avi's point, that if there are private funders interested in that, they should be thinking very hard about what they want to see happen with government if the technology is going to remain behind a curtain, not because it's critical to national security, but simply because people who were given something like no-bid contracts want to keep the privilege for themselves.
I would just want to say to this that it can cut both ways, because the world is rapidly moving. There are other countries, we're not sitting idle. And if we keep everything, if we're not investing in this as a country, as a nation, as in our technological economy, there are other people, there's competition out there. So it seems to me that the best way to deal with this is to go full-fledged and just do it. Waiting for some 80-year-old data with old-fashioned sensors, is okay. It's one stream of data, but why don't we just go get our own data and make our own scientific findings and do it?
Bingo. And this was what Garry was talking about up front. If the government won't play along and give us the findings, we know what we need to do to get the sensors to bring it out there and find it, the data for ourselves. And she is enabling that. Great job.
Before China or some other countries doing the same thing. Because, somebody is going to be driven by curiosity and they may not have the hang-up. So I feel like the biggest thing this council could do is unleash the freedom of the mind and the hands to go do this and remove the stigma, which I think has gone a long way by what has happened, and organize, private and public and government sectors to get behind different projects here that could be fundamental for science, technology, industry, national security, human development. It just touches all of the buttons. And so I feel like, there's a huge opportunity that it would be exciting privilege in our lifetime to be able to work on and help to advance our understanding in this way.
Anita, my prediction is that as soon as there is tangible evidence beyond a reasonable doubt, as soon as there is even a shred of evidence that everyone agrees on of technology that is not human-made right here, the floodgates would open. There would be a huge level of funding because of potential commercial benefits. There would be a huge interest from the...
That's the problem right there. A bunch of commercial opportunities, meaning that, Mike, if they go down the road like Avi's talking about, where there's these people who want to find commercial ways to go ahead and use this technology, it's bringing in another layer of obfuscation and a reason why we can't share it, because there's money to be made here. That's the problem.
Yeah, it becomes a trade secret then, and locked down and not open to the public. So, yeah, that kind of venture capitalist funding, private entities, it would...
It's another layer of obfuscation to bring out the truth. And that's the last fucking thing we need. Granted, you want to have money to get there to figure it out, but if the people want to figure it out, like the guy who is in charge of the SALT conference, right, who was the primary funder behind Skywatcher, why was he doing it? Because he's looking for a return on the money that's invested. And anytime you deal with, oh my God, we're investing all this money, we can't share with anybody, that's confidential information, it just means we're not going to move forward as a community, as a humanity.
No, because it becomes a business venture at that point, which keeps the public out of it.
Yep.
The scientific community, everyone would say, oh, yeah, of course, we always thought about this. You did that. What you did is completely unimportant. We thought about it all the time. It's just that you now open the door, so we will do the research. There will be a huge advance made as a result of that. But the key is to find this clear evidence. And in order to do that, you also need some funding. So as long as we go in a circle and just not fund it because there is no evidence, we will never find the evidence. So we need some seed funding that would allow us to find the first shred of evidence such that it will become a huge subject for the future of science.
And I want to again tee off of something Anita just said. We very often hear it framed as our adversaries, Russia or China, but there are a lot of very capable nations around the world that are not necessarily our adversaries. Japan, India, Pakistan, Indonesia is up and coming, several other Asian nations. Interestingly, Europe is probably the least advanced. They are in terms of like opening the stigma. But, so the United States needs to worry about, frankly, anybody coming up with this and then advancing more rapidly. That's just my thought.
So let's follow up on Anita's point here. The council...
Have we noticed how all of a sudden Anita's become the central point of this conversation?
She has, yeah.
Yeah.
Because she has a very grounded approach.
Is both.
Yes, she does.
Giving advice to government, both about a historical matter and a political matter and a scientific matter. It's also convened a number of individuals and organizations. We should note, because there has been skepticism about it, that Avi, you brought together not only Garry and myself, who are very strong advocates of disclosure and the reality of UAP, but Tim Gallaudet, who is very similar on that point, Kevin Knuth, Matthew Zidagis. So close to a third, maybe almost half the council actually has real expertise on this. We're all here with an open mind and the willingness to say, oh, we were wrong. But you do have people who have serious expertise on the different kinds of data that already exist, the need for more data, and the kind of methodologies and theories you would bring to it. So in light of that, I want to ask each of you, what should the council be doing, both with government and both outside government, and what would success look like for it?
Yeah, so as far as I'm concerned, it's the most important thing that we are already doing is bringing credibility to the scientific discussion on this subject, okay? And the second aspect, which is perhaps even more important, is to get to a resolution of the nature of UAP. It's a mixed bag, but collecting new data is a big priority. And we can do that with new sensors, new experiments, and my hope is there will be partnership with government, and within a year, my hope is we will make a lot of progress. That's my hope. And I should say that I'm an optimist because very often life is a self-fulfilling prophecy. You tell yourself that, you know, you will not do better than was done in the past, and indeed you will not do better than was done in the past. If you say, oh, there were so many committees on this subject, they didn't make a lot of progress, we will not make a lot of progress, obviously you will not make a lot of progress. On the other hand, if you say, this is a brave new world, okay, we can obtain funding for this, we can make it legitimate within the scientific committee, and moreover, we can get our data, new data, such that we will get to the bottom of it, then we might do that.
Anita, what do you want to see happen, really? I mean, you've said already you think that the council should stimulate scientific research to find new data, but what is the question you want to see answered, and that you think could happen under the auspice of the council?
So I would say two things. Number one, on a scientific level, I am particularly fascinated by this boundary. It goes back to like Schrodinger's question in his book, What is Life? What is the boundary between living matter and inert matter? What's the physics boundary between that? How do we understand that? When does matter...
I hear a challenge, and I bring it back.
Clinky.
Clinky. Take your 50th drinky, my friend.
Yeah, there we go. I got to get more.
I already got more before. That's when I had the little message that popped up saying getting a refill.
All right, I'll be back.
Become sentient, living, intelligent, or even systems become intelligent, especially in the age of AI. How do we understand natural intelligence or consciousness?
Clinky, Megan.
And what are those things? They're not necessarily the same. And I think these are hardcore physics problems. These are not just biological or some philosophical problem. And I think that this is part of a new frontier of understanding. In my view, it's not just what like physics. I've done a parallel path in physics and living systems, and with a passion that by bringing the physical sciences and the living sciences together in a fundamental way, we can advance a more holistic understanding of science. And I feel that the deeper I went in the study of physics and say medicine or biomedicine, Stanford, Harvard, MIT, and all these nice places, we're still very siloed between the physical sciences and the life sciences. And I feel like by bringing them closer together, in the UAP is one such phenomena where there is the potential of new data and new thinking,
Okay, this is the good part. She's looking at this from the point of an optimist, not a capitalist like Avi looks at it. So let's listen to this. Looking up, seeing how where it's going to go.
In the UAP is one.
And she's looking up to see where it's going to go. And she's going to describe what she's seeing.
Such phenomena where there is the potential of new data and new thinking, where the physical understanding of the universe and what it means to be living, that boundary starts to come together in a very multidisciplinary way. So I'm very fascinated on two levels: how we can advance our theoretical physics understanding of life, living systems, and even things like consciousness, as well as from a experimental point of view, we have all kinds of new sensor technologies, multimodal data collection, AI.
And that's why they need to work with people like David Mason, who's dedicated his life to create the sensors to go ahead and actually capture the stuff that these people want to observe. They need to get out of their little circle of comfort and get to the people, Matthew Sedegas and David Mason, who can bring them, and also the Nightcrawler guys and the guy from Pixel Perfect Studios on X who covers this stuff. We bring these people in who are the, self-described experts, but are clearly the leaders in this technology to help us understand and get the data that people like Anita can help figure out.
Yeah,
Yes,
subject matter experts. The Tedesco brothers out of Long Island. Yeah, here in New
Tedesco
York.
brothers, Pixel Perfect Studios, and David Mason. All three of them, people who have been observing stuff on a regular basis. They've got the technology. David's even gone and created technology. We'll have to cover that tomorrow if we get a chance, if there's no UFO drop, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
We'll cover that tomorrow.
Well, there's not going to be a drop. Yeah, we could do that.
You never know.
Nah, I'm pretty positive. It's a week after the last drop. We're not getting shit tomorrow.
No, it's 2 weeks.
August 12th is 20th. It's 8 days.
No, it's 2 weeks, Mike.
August 12th was the last drop.
Are you sure?
Yep, I'm sure.
Well, we'll see where it goes.
8 days. Yeah.
And other kinds of tools. Something that we've never had before in the last 50 to 100 years. So putting all of that together, we can get. And I think one thing important, instead of just doing like a snapshot of data, we need to make longitudinal tracking data, multimodal data that's integrated in real time. But the highest.
Really quick, if you guys are watching the show, you're having a good time. We're over 2 hours into the broadcast so far. We have 18,739 subs. If you can help us, please, I really appreciate it. If we can get, we're trying to, get ourselves to 18,800 subs. The only way we're going to get there is from people like you who are watching the show. Please give us a subscribe. And if you've subscribed, do us a favor, folks, give us a thumbs up because it helps the YouTube algorithm go ahead and get there and share it with more people. And Mike, what's our policy?
Oh, well, as always, the cost for subscriptions are always free. But with that, we give you a double your money back guarantee. So it's a win-win situation for you and us. If you're enjoying the show, please like and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the bell icon for notifications of when we have a show.
18,739. We're going for 19,000, but you know what? We'll be happy to get to Mike, 18,800, one step at a time. And the only way we're going to get there is from viewers like you. Let's continue. Here we go.
Highest resolution possible to really try to unravel or tease out what's happening. So I feel like this is a tremendous opportunity both for theoretical and experimental advancement in our science and our technology and even on the human impact that it would create.
It strikes me that a massive success for the council would be if federal government provided kind of data that a group of hard scientists could really sink their teeth into and analyze. And as Avi mentioned, in just one case, we could verify A, it's technological, and B, human beings could not produce it. And that would by itself be revolutionary. And it would be the first time that the intelligence community
Daryl,
specifically
you have your hand up, my friend.
Was willing to work with.
You're muted, my friend. Hate to say it.
I think 20 seconds ago he said something about hard scientists. I'm pretty sure you said hard scientists.
Let's try it. I just rewinded.
Federal government provided kind of data that a group of hard scientists could really sink their teeth into and analyze.
A group of hard scientists.
As Avi mentioned, in just one case, we could verify A, it's technological, and B, human beings could not produce it. And that would by itself be revolutionary. And it would be the first time that the intelligence community specifically was willing to work with scientists outside government and say, okay, in good faith, we're giving you something, and we want you to come to your own conclusions about it. In the late 1960s, the Air Force convened something known now as the Condon Committee, which was supposed to be doing the kind of work the council is doing, but half the staff quit and said that it was in bad faith. And an examination of its final report shows that it was very bad scientific work. And I think we have a very different kind of opportunity here. To close out, Garry, what do you want to see take place?
So, well, both of what Anita and Avi have said, I would like to see a lot of mini-me's of us out there, stimulating the next generation. I mean, and I say that because
Daryl,
somebody's going to make an AI.
Somebody's going to
make an AI.
It is 1:45 p.m.
Yeah. He's overtime.
This is the first time we've seen the clock. He's moved across to the side, and usually he does his interviews between 12 and 1. This one's gone longer than usual for Dr. Garry.
Thanks, Avi Loeb.
Yeah. Oh, for us too. We're at the 3-hour mark at this point.
I know, because it's so long. We're almost
10 or so
there.
years
My
ago,
God.
I was sitting around a table with twice yearly meeting with the likes of Jacques Vallée, Hal Puthoff, Eric Davis, George Hathaway, and a couple of others who can't be named. Not secret, but they just don't want to be named. And I remember looking around the table and going, God.
Daryl, not secret, but they don't want to be named. That means they're secret, right?
That's the group of hard scientists.
It is.
We must protect Secret Squirrel.
Yeah. I knew there was some sexual bent to this whole UFO thing.
No, it's all Secret Squirrel. No, that's not sexual. That's Grindr.
Hard scientists?
Yeah, they're all hard.
This is the collective intelligence of the last 40 years on this subject matter. Wouldn't it be a
Cialis goes a long way, especially when you're older.
shame if they pass from
72 hours versus 8? Do the math.
This mortal realm and not get the kind of confirmation that they're looking for. And I think that
these aren't the droids you're looking for.
I felt that way because they were siloed as a group individually. And so what I hope that this council does is open up that kind of thought process so that I don't go from this mortal realm not having the kind of confirmation. But I think exactly what you just said, they don't have to tell us where the secret saucers are. They just need to give us permission to analyze the data or collect the kind of prospective data that would allow us to do exactly what you said, which is to verify that something is absolutely not ours.
Avi, do you have last words for your academic colleagues, for government and the public?
Stay curious. And
stay curious and look out for the black holes.
Jump to conclusions
so I can sell more Avi Lube.
Having the evidence.
Oh, that's right, folks. We have a subscriber to this show tonight. Yes, it's Avi Lube for all your personal gratification.
For all of you hard scientists.
Yes.
Because eventually the evidence will be clear enough and everyone will be on the same page. And I can guarantee that whether you're a skeptic or a believer,
open your eyes, Avi.
What we will arrive at in the end of this process would be different than what you started from. There will be new details that will convince you of some new information. So it's a lot of fun. It's like a detective story, and it makes our life interesting. And hopefully, within our lifespan, we will know the answer of what we are dealing with.
Fucking lifespan. We want to know what's going on now, not in fucking 20 or 40 years. What the fuck?
All right. Thank you all. Great conversation.
Yes.
Yeah, Scapish is never going to let us use his videos for free again.
Well, no. We actually cover this very objectively.
Yeah.
Everyone was fucking railing on Dr. Anita all along, and I'm saying, shame on you. Don't talk about her that way. And she turned out to be the gem of the fucking meeting. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But it was all in good fun, and we were just joking.
I know, but I still.
It would have. I am actually really interested in the shit that she's doing. I mean, the government, like the DNI, I mean, all these different agencies, micro nanobiology.
Yes.
What the fuck? And I read something that said, look out for this woman because that you're going to see change happen at her fingertips.
Bingo.
In healthcare.
Everybody wants to go ahead and take the Indians and throw them under the bus and say they can't do anything, attack her because of her looks. But you know what the truth is? She's a fucking genius. She knows what's going on, and there's things going into it. And as we watched the whole thing going, all three of them were coming back to Anita to give their insights. So good for her. Just got to say it.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. I've asked him to come on the show, but he hasn't shown up yet. But Chief Bon Beef, come on, follow the fucking link, Chief. He said that we're a great show tonight, Thomas, Mike, Daryl, Anita, and everyone in the chat. It's a great night. Chief comes for the UFO and always stays for the fun. Come on, join the back after the show's over. You don't have to be on the show, but you know what? It'd be a wonderful opportunity to hang out and talk shit. You know what I mean, Daryl?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't really want us to know who you are, you can use one of those things. Chief Von Braun over here. You got to talk like this.
Oh,
through my hole.
Oh, I am. I don't know what you're talking about. It's so wonderful of a time. Yeah, I know.
I don't get why they say cigarettes are bad. I've been smoking for 55 years.
Oh my God! What a wonderful time to hang out. Happy fucking Thursday. Who would have thought Thursday would be so fun? But you know what? You never know. There could be UFO data coming out tomorrow. If there is, hopefully I will get a phone call at fucking 5 o'clock in the morning and tell me that there's actually UFO files, and not just wait until hours afterwards. Right, Mike?
That's right. Yep.
So if it happens, just fucking call me, check and see what's there, and don't make me have to keep on waking up every 15 minutes from 4:30 going forward.
Okay.
Because if it goes on, I will jump on, and I can get this all done before work even starts in the morning, and I don't have to take a day off.
Right. Yeah. I got it. And I think Chief joined us in the back.
He did.
Oh,
wonderful. On that note, I want to thank everybody for coming out to this episode. I want to thank everybody for coming out to this episode of Disclosure tonight. It's been such a wonderful time to go ahead and hang out with everybody. You know what? I've kind of fucked up with the chat a bunch of times, but let me go ahead and find this. Yes, we got some super chats. Let's see if I can go ahead and find them. It's not the usual way, but I will find it anyway. And it's not from there. It should be from here. No, not from there. Where is it? Community moderation. No, it should be here somewhere. Come on, you motherfucker. Top chat. Fan funding. Let's go ahead and bring up and thank everybody for your wonderful super chats tonight. Yeah, during the show I had to deal with a bunch of stuff. Daryl is here. Start with the super chats tonight. New sensors, data research. Thank you very much. Then we got another one from Jonathan Wilson from Gizmo. 59.78 from Daryl is here. Another $10, and Chief on Beef coming in. Good night show. Thomas, Mike, Daryl, Anita, and everyone that's made a great night. Chief comes for the UFOs and always stays for the fun. On that note, I want to thank everybody for coming out to this episode of Disclosure tonight. More importantly, let's find the way. Let's get back to it. Daryl, thank you for coming out, my friend. It's been a great time.
Thank you for having us, Thomas. I really appreciate it every time. You guys are doing a great job.
It's been a wonderful time. I appreciate you being here, Daryl. Mike, I want to thank you for coming out tonight.
Oh, my pleasure. It was a really fun-packed, extended episode of Disclosure tonight.
I know. The thing was, if we don't cover it tonight, we're not going to go back.
Yeah, you're probably right.
And it was an hour and a half interview with, and the way we talk and everything, it's just going to go on. And it's like, you know what? Just let it play. I don't have to get up at fucking 5 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Let it play.
So we had a 3-hour show. Yep.
You got to have fun with it. On that note, I thank everybody for coming out to this episode of Disclosure Tonight. As we usually say at the end of every episode of Disclosure Tonight, eyes open, no fear, be safe, everybody, but
go back to Party City where you belong.
Absolutely. We'll catch you on the flip side. See you tomorrow. Maybe we'll have a UFO drop, but you never know.
That's right.
But either way, we'll be here. Good night, Sweaty Nerd. Have a great one. Take care now.
Good night, you too.
Good night, Bobby. Peace. Everybody.